Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. Marvel, collecting Shinra Tensei at the beginning. Chapter 181 Laughter reappears. Hanyu can easily do things like tearing people apart, but he is different. He has the immortal seal given by the grocery store system. In terms of strength, he has already surpassed human beings. It is normal to be able to do this kind of thing. Banner is different. In his normal state, his body functions are no different from ordinary people. A normal high school student might be able to beat him. Hulk is Hulk, Banner is Banner, and the consciousness and body abilities of the two will not be shared, so Hanyu was surprised that Banner actually tore 4 living people. This is not something ordinary people can do. Hanyu walked towards Banner, turned his head after walking a few steps, and found that Hank was standing where he hadn't come, so he asked, "Aren't you coming together?" Hank shook his head quickly and said, "You guys talk, I'll stand near here, and you can call me if you need anything." Saying that, Hank took a few steps back, looking quite frightened. Hanyu didn't blame him either, it was a normal reaction. Even Hanyu had never seen such a thing as tearing up a living person. If he saw it, he would probably feel very sick to his stomach. "Hey, look, someone actually walked towards that lunatic." "No way, he's so powerful, look at him, he's a newcomer." "Tisk tisk tisk, this little cutie looks pretty good. If he can come out alive, my sister must have him. I've taken a fancy to it too, and I won't give it up to you easily." "Get lost, you bastard, what are you doing grabbing men from me every day if you don't play with girls? I just like this one, how about it?" Hearing the whispers from around, Hanyu's expression didn't change at all, and he walked straight to Banner's booth. When I came to Banner's booth, there were wine bottles all over the place. I picked up a bottle and looked at it. It was all alcohol with a high degree of more than 90 degrees, and there were some white pills on the wine table. Hanyu knew that it was not a good thing, it must be some kind of illegal drug. "Banna!" Hanyu stepped forward and shook him, trying to call out. At this time, Banner was lying on the table, exuding a strong smell of alcohol. Hanyu's action stimulated Banner, who woke up instantly, and some withered palms directly hit Hanyu's neck at an extremely fast speed. His eyes shrank slightly. Facing this fierce attack, Hanyu was not surprised. His reaction was also very fast. He also reached out and firmly grasped Banner's wrist, preventing him from moving. The sudden confrontation between the two caused an uproar around them, especially seeing Hanyu's skill. The rich women in the crowd were even more impressed. At that moment, they had already thought about what to say to Hanyu. "This skill, this appearance, is guaranteed, must be guaranteed." "Banna, it's me, Hanyu." A low-pitched voice carrying a faint green light came from Hanyu's mouth and passed into Banner's ears, which woke him up a bit. Then Banner raised his head, and his cloudy eyes became brighter. "Han, why are you?" "I'll talk about this later. I'm here to find you." "What's the matter with you?" Hanyu let go of his hand, pointed to the wine bottles around and the medicine on the table, said with a frown, and sat across from Banner by the way. "It's Hulk. Hulk is crazy. He wants to completely occupy my body all the time. I can feel his madness. He can only use alcohol to numb himself, and even take these medicines, and then Hulk is gone. I can only dissolve these things I ate first, and there is no way to get them out for the time being." Banner rubbed his hair, and there was some panic in his words, and Hanyu felt mixed feelings in his heart. He is usually a very gentle person. Because of the existence of Hulk, I have never seen him speak harshly to anyone, and he has always been a very gentle scholar image. It's hard to imagine what he's going through now that he's showing such a gesture now. Here he is again, Hulk is occupying my body again. Banner suddenly became flustered, reaching out to grab the medicine and wine on the table, and using the wine to prescribe medicine. This was the first time Hanyu saw this way of eating, it was so wild. But Hanyu didn't let him catch the medicine. He took Banner one step ahead, snatched his medicine and wine, and then looked at him coldly. "What are you doing? Give me the medicine, give me the medicine." Banner rushed towards him like crazy, but Hanyu dodged it. In order to prevent Banner from getting up, Hanyu kicked Banner on the chest when he was about to pounce again, and kicked him back to the booth sofa, while Hanyu stood aside coldly looking at him. This scene stunned everyone, even the DJ playing discs stopped, and the sound in the bar became much quieter. Some people who didn't know why came to watch and discussed with great interest, while those who saw Banner's murder stayed away, not even daring to breathe, for fear of affecting themselves. 10 seconds after he snatched Banner's medicine, his body began to undergo obvious changes. A lot of very obvious green blood vessels began to protrude from his arm, and a low growl came out of Banner's mouth, which sounded a little scary. Soon, his skin also began to turn green, and the muscles on his body began to increase visible to the naked eye. Han Yu was about to dismiss the people in the bar, because if Banner appeared here in Hulk form, many people would definitely be hurt. He just wanted to turn his head to speak, but saw that Banner's changes stopped. The change in his body probably means that his original weight of 120 jin has broken through 200 jin. The clothes that could not bulge out of his body are now full of muscles and become extremely strong. Han Yu just wanted to call Banner, but saw a strange expression on the latter's face that he hadn't seen for a long time. The eyes were opened suddenly, bloodshot in the eyes, and the corners of the mouth were raised greatly, revealing a very strange smile. The people around were startled by this crazy smile, but Han Yu's face was solemn. This was the second time he had seen this smile. The first time was on Alexander Pierce, the leader of Hydra, and the second time was on Banner's face. Han Yu never thought that he would have the opportunity to see this smile. This is the laughing virus. Han Yu said in disbelief, how did Banner get infected by the laughing virus, or in other words, why does the laughing virus still exist in this world? The current color of Banner's body is not pure green, but there is still a little red in his skin. I don't know if it is the color of his blood or the effect of the laughing virus. As soon as this posture was formed, Banner grinned at Han Yu with a terrifying smile. After a roar, he flew towards Han Yu with his fists gathered. The speed is as fast as a hungry wolf that has already set its sights on its prey, vicious and greedy. Chapter 182 Just Beating. Facing this fierce attack, Han Yu grinned, without any dodge, and defended in the most direct way, that is, punching. Banner's speed was extremely fast, and he came in front of Han Yu in an instant, but the latter's fighting reaction was stronger. In that few tenths of a second, he turned his head slightly and avoided Banner's attack. Come punch! And Han Yu's fist, which had already been placed at his waist, hit Banner's stomach with a bang, and the huge force directly penetrated his body, breaking the clothes behind him. Banner vomited a mouthful of blood in pain, but the blood was no longer the normal red color, and the blood was mixed with a lot of green at this time, which is the performance of Hulkization. Banner's situation should be absorbed by the Hulk in his body after absorbing the laughing virus. Banner himself is fine, but the Hulk who absorbed the laughing virus will be dozens of times crazier than before. That's why Banner do you have to paralyze yourself with poison and alcohol. Han Yu's face was serious. He took Banner's medicine just to see what state Hulk was in when he couldn't suppress Hulk's personality. Only when he saw it with his own eyes could he have a solution. The laughing virus is not difficult to solve. The ability of the green light ring has the means of medical treatment, and its level is very high. It is not impossible to use its ability to perform minor surgery to remove the virus for Banner. Now Banner is half Hulk and half Banner. The body still belongs to Banner, but the spirit already belongs to Hulk. Everyone exclaimed for a while, and saw Hulk's figure turned into a phantom, followed by a sonic boom. Han Yu was a little surprised. The speed of the Hulk attacking in this posture completely surpassed what he had before. The previous Hulk could see a huge green figure no matter how fast he was, but now the Hulk who uses Banner's body to attack is not even a little bit faster. Han Yu's attack just now made Hulk dare not take any shots at will. This big guy who usually only knows how to smash, did not attack rashly at this time, but circled around Han Yu at his super fast speed, looking for his shortcomings. In Han Yu's field of vision, Hulk's figure is like an ordinary person jogging, but in the eyes of ordinary people, this speed is already very fast, and their normal naked eyes cannot capture Hulk's speed at all. It's a good speed, but it's a pity that it's not even a tenth of Petro's. Han Yu smiled slightly, and a faint green light appeared in his eyes. In his eyes, Hulk's speed was slow, and now he seemed to be standing still. I saw a flash in his hand, and the ice wheel pill exuding wisps of cold air appeared in his hand, and I saw him insert the long knife with sheath in his hand on the ground, and the icy air in the blade burst out instantly, covering the surrounding area directly. Frozen into an ice cave. Hulk's figure was also stopped in place instantly, and a thick layer of ice rose from the floor, fixing his feet firmly in place. What is this, let me go. Hulk's voice came from Banner's mouth. Now his mind has been completely assimilated into Hulk, but I don't know if it's because of the laughing virus, so he can maintain a human body without giganticity. You have to go with me. I didn't expect this kind of thing to happen. It seems that we need to investigate the reason. Brother Hulk, don't blame me, this is to calm you down. Han Yu chuckled, and after securing Hulk, he raised his fists and punched him in the face, punch after punch, and the piercing sound of the punching wind made all the onlookers grin their teeth. This looks like it hurts, this is simply not the strength that a young man who looks less than 20 years old can explode. The bodyguards around those black bosses couldn't help but nodded, and several senior bodyguards said so. Precise and ruthless, this young man perfectly interpreted these 3 points. The strength of each punch is not much different, and the punch is very accurate. If we face each other head-on, let alone precision, this ruthlessness alone is enough to kill us instantly. The bosses were very surprised to hear the bodyguards around them say such things. They all knew the level of the bodyguards they hired, and they were all well known in the industry. Letting them say such things is enough to show how strong Han Yu is. Han Yu's justice beating didn't take long, it lasted only about a minute, but ordinary people can see as many as 30 or 40 punches with the naked eye, and the punches are so powerful that a normal person would have died long ago. Looking at the Hulk who was screaming a little bit on the ground, Han Yu heaved a sigh of relief. He originally thought that Pierce would be dealt with, but now it seems that the laughing virus seems to be contagious, so it needs to be investigated clearly. If necessary, a laughing antibody drug must be produced, so as not to spread the virus in a large area in the future, which will cause panic among the masses. On Han Yu's body, countless chains transformed from green light energy wound towards Hulk and tied him to the ground. After finishing all this, Han Yu put away the Bing Lunwan, turned his head and saw that everyone in the bar was staring at him. He waved his hand helplessly, and said, "It's all gone, everyone is playing, stop watching here." With that said, Han Yu directly dragged the Hulk who was bound by the green light chain, and walked out. Seeing this, Hank quickly acted as a peacemaker, causing the onlookers to disperse. Some of the guys who wanted to come up, after Hank's glance, shuddered, smiled awkwardly and then retreated. Opened. This scene was naturally taken into Han Yu's eyes, and he was a little surprised in his heart. These guests didn't look like good men and women, and Hank could shut them up at a glance. Is this just a bartender in a bar? No one would believe it, but Han Yu didn't say much. The most urgent task now is to solve Hulk's problem first, and Hank can save it for later. Mr. Han, are you, from the Avengers? Hank's eyes were sharp at this time. Although he saw Han Yu's strength, if the other party was from the Avengers, he would definitely not mess around. He also has a chance to restrain the opponent. Because the Avengers will not kill innocent people indiscriminately. Of course I'm not. I'm just an ordinary grocery store owner. Why, do you want me to compensate for the broken things here? Han Yu smiled lightly. While talking, the Hulk behind him was still roaring, but the chains on his body kept getting tighter, and the Hulk couldn't struggle at all. After hearing what he said, Hank looked at Han Yu again, and within a few seconds, his eyes instantly retreated from sharpness to kindness. And he smiled lightly at him. Mr. Han, please follow me. Chapter 183 Hank and number 039, S identity. Hank led Han Yu to another direction, which was not where Han Yu came in at first, but he didn't think much about it. If the other party had a way to harm himself, then he was quite interested, so he followed him directly. The three of them passed through several doors, and the place where they reappeared was already a deserted sewer. This is actually the emergency escape point of the bar? Hank looked around, and after confirming that there was no one there, he smiled at Han Yu. Okay, Mr. Han, there is no one around here, it must be inconvenient for you to show up in the city center with this guy, I can call a van for you. Hearing that he actually planned this way, Han Yu was a little surprised. He was too good at being a man. If he went out directly through the door he came in, Han Yu would be too eye-catching with this roaring Hulk. Although the current Hulk has not completely turned into a giant, and his skin is still red, if those smashing incidents did not happen, the people who saw it might be because of some other strange people. But the smashing happened, and now it is not difficult to recognize Hulk. Hank's approach saved Han Yu a lot of trouble. Thanks, I made a note of this. Han Yu patted Hank on the shoulder sincerely and said. Hank was not too polite, he smiled, took out a business card from the inner pocket of his jacket, handed it to Han Yu, and said. This is my real name, place of work, and mobile phone number. If Mr. Han needs my help, you can contact me. There is still a business card? Han Yu took the bunch of business cards, and saw 3 lines written on them, Martin Li, Demon Gang, and a bunch of phone numbers. Martin Lee, a good name, much easier to remember than Hank. Han Yu didn't show much on the surface, but he was already extremely surprised in his heart. He is not unfamiliar with this name, and maybe not many people know it when he said it, but Han Yu, an old bookworm who has been immersed in Marvel movies and Marvel comics for many years, is really familiar with this name. He also has another name, Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative can release negative energy to enhance the negative emotions of the other party. No matter how close the other party is, it will arouse the most insignificant contradictory thing, and then infinitely magnify it, so that both parties can kill each other. And he can also use these negative energies to generate substantial energy waves, or transform them into entities. He is a strong opponent of Spider-Man, and the Devil Gang he leads will become one of the strongest gangs in the United States in the future. Han Yu was surprised that the current Martin Lee looked like a Caucasian, while the Martin in his memory was of Asian descent. It's a good disguise, Han Yu thought. At this moment, it was mysterious to say it, Martin suddenly had a strange feeling. He felt that he had completely seen through Han Yu, as if the business card he gave had let the other party know a lot about him. Immediately, Han Yu accepted the business card with a smile, stretched out his hand to shake him, and said, "Mr. Martin, I hope we will have a chance to meet again. After I finish this guy, I will definitely find time to drink with you." Martin was taken aback for a moment, and quickly realized that he shook Han Yu's hand, and said with a smile, "I'm looking forward to that day." After all, Han Yu didn't hide too much. The green light energy from his body poured out from him, protected him, surrounded Hulk, and the two flew into the sky together. "Oh, he can actually fly, who the hell is this?" Martin looked at the place where Han Yu left, with curiosity in his eyes. After a few minutes, several black vans came slowly from different places and stopped beside Martin. A few strong men got out of the car, making people think they were going to beat him, but they were respectful. Called him Mr. Lee. The faint smile on Martin's face disappeared in an instant, replaced by a sense of majesty, and he said lightly, "Is the matter in the bar settled?" A strong man replied, "It's settled, and everyone has been warned. People with brains won't go out and talk nonsense." "Fine." Martin nodded. The big man who spoke hesitated for a while, and then asked, "Do we need to investigate that person's background?" The person he was referring to was naturally Han Yu, because he only said his name and did not leave any address information. Martin raised his hand to touch the neck, and suddenly pulled the skin off his face, revealing a look of a yellow man, and the skin in his hand was just his disguise. He looked at the place where Han Yufi left with his deep eyes, thought for a moment, and then smiled lightly. "No, let's go," he said. He would come to me, and the other party's methods are not ordinary people, so he rushed to investigate. Maybe it will anger him. I don't want to destroy the relationship between us. I don't know why, he seems to have a good impression of me. Hearing this, those subordinates didn't bother to ask any more questions. Their elder brother would do whatever he wanted. This has always been the case, but no one dared to disobey him. He is very good to his subordinates. None of his subordinates are cannon fodder, but he is also very strict. One of the rules of the gang is that the subordinates are not allowed to commit crimes against the superiors. They just went their own way. Martin went back to the bar, and the others went where they should. Han Yu had a panoramic view of this scene. He was standing in the sky at this time, and the energy of the green light provided an invisibility effect, preventing him from being discovered by the outside world. "Well, this guy is not bad, and I really should work on this aspect. Black and white can take all." Han Yu smiled lightly and said that although he is strong, he doesn't want to use force to solve everything. Compared with force, he prefers to win without fighting because he finds it troublesome. If you have to solve everything by yourself, it will be very cheap. If you can solve everything with just one phone call, it will be called face-saving, so Han Yu plans to develop his influence on the Earth. If it goes well, maybe an interstellar gang can be formed later, and Han Yu's ambition is not on the same Earth. Seeing Martin Lee's performance, Han Yu was very satisfied. If the other party really came to investigate him, he would be really unhappy. Maybe the two of them would just leave it like this. But Martin is very sensible not to investigate himself, so he seems to believe in himself. In this way, you have the qualifications to come and go. Thinking of this, Han Yu nodded in satisfaction, and flew towards the grocery store. We have to deal with the Mad Hulk in the back first. The next day, early in the morning, Iron Man Stark and Captain America Steve drove to the grocery store in a hurry, because Han Yu told them that he had found Hulk. The two had been looking for news about Banner during this time, and they were a little happy when they received the call, but they quickly reacted. What Han Yu said was, Hulk. Chapter 184 Incompetent Fury. Both of them are smart people, otherwise it would be impossible to get to the current position. They are not talking about Banner but Hulk, which means that the guy Han Yu found is not Banner, but Hulk. When they arrived, they were very strange. During this period of time, the Avengers have been searching for the signal of gamma energy, but failed to detect it. If Banner has always been in the state of Hulk, it is impossible for the detection system to fail to detect this level beyond the nuclear bomb. Gamma energy. When the two came to the grocery store, they were shocked by the scene before them. They went into the utility room of the grocery store, where Han Yu built a solid cage with the energy of the green light. At this time, Hulk was still half green and half red, roaring wildly in the cage. It's a pity that all he did was incompetent and furious. There is a layer of energy film between the thin pillars of the green light cage. It is the existence of this film that isolates the sound, so that the Hulk who seems to be screaming inside cannot hear a little sound outside. Han, what's going on? Stark was a little confused looking at this forced Banner. The US team turned around the cage, looking at the current hulky Banner in all directions. The latter looks like a mutated version of himself, with muscles that are a circle bigger than his own. Overall, it can still be regarded as for normal people, the muscles on the body are half green and half red. Han Yu sighed softly, looked at Captain America, and said, "Do you still remember the last time we were attacked by Pierce in S.H.I.E.L.D? Remember, what's the matter?" Captain America nodded. "After that, what will Pierce do?" Han Yu asked. "This involves the secrets of SHIELD, but there were only the three of them present. Stark is naturally a trustworthy person, and Han Yu also has the highest authority of SHIELD, so Captain America didn't say anything vaguely. The shooting was executed. After that, we wanted to analyze the reason why he became so violent, and then sent several people to dissect Pierce's body, and wanted to take samples for research. Banner was one of them." The US team said truthfully. "What about after this?" Han Yu asked. The US team said, "It didn't take long for the autopsy to start, and several people all said that they were not feeling well. Originally, we thought that they would feel uncomfortable after the autopsy." Speaking of this, Captain America's eyes widened suddenly, and Han Yu suddenly asked about Pierce. Pierce had been in this crazy state, and Banner participated in the autopsy. The answer is already obvious. It was because they came into contact with Pierce's body that they did this. Immediately find the person who participated in Pierce's autopsy at that time, hurry up. Han Yu said immediately. Speaking of which, Banner is not the only one exposed to the laughing virus. The US team also knew the importance of the matter, and immediately went out to make a phone call, because it was isolated from outside signals. "I don't even know what you are talking about. Explain to me." Stark asked. He didn't understand what happened to Pierce. When Han Yu and the US team said this, he was dizzy and couldn't understand at all. Han Yu explained the ins and outs to Stark, and the latter suddenly realized, and at the same time his expression was very dignified. Judging from the current situation, if the virus infected by Banner is contagious, it must be investigated clearly whether it is transmitted by air, contact, or droplets. Only by investigating these reasons clearly can we have a better way to prevent them. Soon, the US team came in again, but this time his face was a little anxious. He walked up to Han Yu and the two quickly, and said, "It's not good. I received a message that there are at least the 10 people showed extremely obvious violent tendencies, and they would show weird smiles from time to time, and those who participated in the autopsy of Pierce's body were all dead. A weird smile that reaches to the ear." Hearing his words, both Han Yu and Stark felt shuddering, and this way of dying felt horrible and weird even thinking about it. "With my authority, immediately block shield, gather all the personnel on the floor where Pierce died on the day of death, investigate all the places they have been to during this period, send people to follow them, and put them on alert." Han Yu said immediately. When he said this, he already had the aura of a superior person, and the coercion radiated out. Both Captain America and Stark couldn't help trembling, a little surprised that Han Yu had such an aura. The US team didn't talk too much nonsense, took Han Yu's shield authority, and immediately began to issue tasks in shield according to Han Yu's statement. The sudden state of alert made most people in the SHIELD prepared. Stark said seriously, Banner was the only one who dissected Pierce. Is it because of the Hulk in him? With that said, Stark looked at the Hulk who was trapped in the cage and was still mad. He also had a weird smile on his face, and his features were exactly the same as what the US team had just described. Seeing this appearance with his own eyes, Stark shuddered again, which was too terrifying. I think so. If infected with this virus, people will become insane and their heartbeat will speed up. Most people can't bear this kind of madness at all. They will die of heartbeat in a few days at most. Han Yu said. This feeling is like a person who is extremely afraid of ghosts watching the most exciting ghost movies for 24 hours. The stimulation brought by it is not felt by ordinary people. To be startled, let alone a person who is extremely afraid of ghosts and forced to watch ghost movies for 24 hours. This is simply unbearable. By the way, Nick Fury and Natasha were also there. Han Yu said suddenly. The US team shouted from outside the door of the utility room, "Don't worry, I thought about this, and I also asked them to go to quarantine." Hearing this, Han Yu was relieved, because with the determination of Nick Fury and Natasha, they might be able to carry it on, and then the madness in their hearts would be magnified by the laughing virus. With their identities and skills, if they really want to do something, they can really do a lot of things. We have to create an antidote serum, otherwise it will cause great damage to the city. Stark said. Han Yu nodded and said, "That's why I'm looking for you. But just let me do it alone. I'm not very good at it. Do you know who can make creatures? This requires experts in biology." Stark said. Han Yu thought for a moment, and a person suddenly popped up in his mind. Charles. Chapter 185 Joining Forces. When Han Yu went to the school where Charles was looking for him before, he taught biology in the class he attended outside at that time, and he was also a genetic scientist himself, so it would be no problem to find him. I have a choice. Han Yu clapped his hands and went out to make a call. Charles. It's me, Han, what's wrong? Charles's voice came from the other end, and some people's discussions could be heard around him. It sounded like a lot. The mutant school has started? Han Yu put this doubt on hold, and asked Charles, I remember you have a doctorate in biology, do you know how to make detoxification serum? It's okay if there are sample subjects for reference. Charles was stunned and asked, do you want to make a detox serum? Han Yu explained to Charles the problems that are happening here. Charles on the other end of the phone heard his words, and his relaxed expression gradually became serious. From time to time, he asked a few questions about the laughing virus, and Han Yu gave him he answered them all. I see, I'll book the nearest flight right away, and it will arrive tonight, you help me prepare these things. Charles said everything he needed very bluntly, and Han Yu wrote it all down. After saying what he needed, Charles hung up the phone directly. Han Yu was not ready to go out, so he directly turned on his mobile phone, searched for what Charles said, and then directly built it with the energy of the green light. There are as many as 5 high-precision instruments, and there are even more other auxiliary instruments. Looking at these very professional scientific instruments, Stark asked curiously, who did you call? You can actually use these sophisticated instruments. There are many instruments in it, Stark is very familiar with them, but there are also many instruments that he has never seen before. I am really curious who Han Yu called, and he can use this kind of thing. Han Yu smiled and said, his name is Charles Xavier. I have wanted to introduce the two of you for a long time. Today is just the opportunity. Seeing that he was playing tricks, Stark didn't ask too much. When Han Yu called just now, he didn't suppress his voice, and the space was very quiet. Stark could hear the conversation between the two clearly. The people came right away, and he was not in a hurry. He went up to familiarize himself with the instruments he didn't know how to use. Anyway, these are what others said to use, so he should familiarize himself with the general idea first, and then others will teach him. It's no problem at all. Seeing that Stark was busy with his own affairs, Han Yu didn't bother him aloud. His intelligence was at the level of a genius. Otherwise, in the final battle in Han Yu's memory, he wouldn't have made it all at once. A time machine that stumps Banner's gang. Han Yu walked to the cage, looked at the roaring Hulk who seemed to have endless energy, and murmured, this matter is getting more and more troublesome. It seems that I will build up my power on the earth faster, otherwise it's too troublesome to ask people everywhere when something happens. In the middle of the night, Han Yu went out for a trip, and when he came back, Charles followed behind him. After entering the utility room, he was surprised by this world, and became more and more curious about Han Yu. Han Yu smiled. This kind of ability to open up a world by himself is rarely achieved by gods in the Marvel world, unless with the help of gods like space gems. Ordinary gods can't do it at all. Although there are many mutants around Charles, most of them are still in the human category, and this kind of thing is simply impossible. Come on, let me introduce you. Han Yu led Charles towards Stark, and just as he was about to speak, Stark spoke first. I know you, Charles Xavier. Did you give a lecture at MIT 4 years ago? I happened to be there. Hearing this, Charles was a little surprised. He didn't expect the other party to know him so early, and said, what a coincidence, I didn't notice, it's quite a fate that we can meet here today. The two looked at each other, smiled, and shook hands. Han Yu was quite surprised, he didn't know about this. Now that they both knew each other, Han Yu didn't talk nonsense, and brought Charles to the green light cage, and said, this is the Hulk who was infected with the laughing virus. Charles exclaimed, turned around the cage, and watched Hulk carefully. After a while, he turned to Han Yu and said, I want to take a tube of his blood as a sample. No problem. Han Yu snapped his fingers, and the energy in the Green Lantern cage was condensed into a syringe, which stretched out towards Hulk. Seeing the syringe stretched out towards him, Hulk roared angrily, and stretched out his hand to slap it away, but at this moment, the energy in the cage once again condensed a giant hand, slapping Hulk directly. The whole person was slapped in a daze up. Charles and Stark both bared their teeth, it looked so painful. After the slap, Han Yu also successfully extracted a tube of Hulk's blood, which turned into 3 slender glass tubes, which slowly floated towards Charles. They were quite surprised by this miraculous extraction method, but when they thought that it was Han Yu's method, they thought it was normal. Han Yu has always been very strong and mysterious. Charles took the 3 serums, walked to the equipment next to him, and started his work. Stark also walked to him and asked if there was anything he could do to help. Stark is also a genius, and has also learned how to use these instruments. When Charles saw that he said he was coming to help, he didn't feel that the other party was here to make trouble. With Stark's identity and character, he must know these instruments if he offered to help. He thought that Stark's major was not in line with what he was going to do now. After handing over a few tasks to Stark, he also briefly told him how to use the instrument. Stark was naturally more handy after hearing this, and the two started scientific research immediately. I'll go up to the 2nd floor and stay for a while. If you have anything to do, just call me outside. The two didn't respond to what they said, and Han Yu didn't care. He shrugged and backed out. He couldn't understand how boring he was here. He went up to the 2nd floor to play a few games, but just as he reached the door, he heard Ganada's voice coming from inside. Hey, wait for me, don't you need to take this money? How does this car drive? We pressed the forward button and it went backwards. Sister, that's the back button S. Ao Chuang's helpless voice came from inside. Han Yu pushed the door in, and the 3 of Ganada were playing GTA. Ganada looked excited, while Ao Chuang and Kuei Yin had bitter faces. When they saw Han Yu coming in, they immediately gave him a look and motioned him to come and sit down. Han Yu walked over cheerfully. Good guy, the mission death count in the upper right corner shows 7 times, and 1 mission can die 7 times. If it is changed to another player, it will be sprayed by Kuei Yin and Ultron just after dying the 2nd time. I have to retreat. Now even Kuei Yin's technology has become very high. Even if Ultron often says that he is weak, but compared to Ultron, he is also a high-end player if you look at it in the player. After all, his teammate is Ultron. If Kuei Yin has been bad all the time, he would have been sprayed by Ultron to retire. Chapter 187 Hunting Down the Hulk. Ultron, who has learned all the medical skills to the pinnacle, and coupled with the medical function of the green light ring, there is nothing in the universe that can rarely cause his disease, because the green light ring also contains medical technology from other planets. With Ultron's treatment, the injuries of Stark's 2 people also recovered visible to the naked eye, and within a minute, the 2 of them returned to their previous normal looks. Seeing that their condition had improved, Han Yu stepped forward and used the telepathy function of the green light ring to read their inner thoughts. Compared with asking them, the 2 must have been attacked suddenly, and verbal inquiries would not learn much detail. It's better to read their memory directly. They may not see it directly in memory, but they will notice it indirectly from the corner of their eyes, but their subjective consciousness at that time did not pay attention to that. Han Yu entered the consciousness of the two, and looked at the cage that trapped Hulk from the perspective of the two. Seeing that Hulk had calmed down, Stark and the two of them saw that he was not moving, and thought that he was tired and needed to rest, so they didn't pay attention to him. But at this time Hulk, on his right hand, a faint needle-shaped light continuously condensed in his hand, condensed on his fist, and then bombarded out. The powerful radiant energy directly penetrates the Green Lantern cage. Although the cage is strong, it is not invincible. The power of the punch just now broke through the acceptable level of the cage that Han Yu had solidified, otherwise he would have been punched to death by Hulk. Seeing this scene, Han Yu couldn't help exclaiming, "This guy can actually condense radiation energy." Kuei Yin and Ultron who were outside heard what he said, and quickly used the green light ring to come in together. After seeing this scene, Ultron was the more surprised one. He knew what it meant that Hulk could control radiation energy. Hulk's attack power was already very strong, but now he could control radiation energy. The current Hulk is equivalent to a casual punch that is enough to bombard the lethal power like a nuclear bomb. Such a him is undoubtedly very terrifying. On Earth, apart from the three Han Yu in the grocery store and Wanda and Guyi who are now in the Supreme Sanctuary, there is no one on Earth who can resist him. I'm going to pack him up and take another tube of blood. This matter can't be delayed. Han Yu's face darkened slightly. Originally, he planned to treat Hulk peacefully. The previous shots were all within the scope of the latter's recovery, which belonged to the kind of damage that would scratch the skin at most. Now that he has hurt his own people, Han Yu will resort to violence. "Boss, I'm going to." This kind of thing was too interesting for Kuei Yin. He was the first to stand up and say he wanted to follow. "I'll go too," Ultron said lightly. He got up and looked back at Stark and Charles who were still sitting on the ground. The expressions of the two had returned to normal, but there were still some frightened expressions on their faces, but their bodies were fine, and it was fine for him to leave them now. Han Yu confirmed the questions of the two of them, and was about to nod his head and tell them to take a rest at the grocery store first, but the two of them proposed to go with them. He turned his head to look at Ultron, who nodded slightly to him, indicating that their bodies are fine now. Han Yu looked back at Stark and Charles again. Both Stark and Charles looked serious, so he didn't say any more. The two of them knew it well. Since they said they were going, it must be for him. Physical condition is assured. It is impossible to die in the past. If there is such an idea, it is impossible for the two of them to reach the position they are today. After finalizing the attention, Han Yu took a few people out, and Ganada also followed, because it was boring for her to play games upstairs alone. When she heard such a big movement downstairs, she knew that something big had happened. She planned to join in the fun too. For Ganada's joining, Han Yu has no opinion. This great god must be the most reassuring thing for Han Yu. His ability to go is also a great guarantee for himself and the others. As soon as he walked out of the grocery store, Han Yu asked the grocery store system in his heart, "Can you repair the store?" "Yes, it costs 5 upgrade points." Flour. Han Yu was too lazy to entangle with the grocery store system about these 5 upgrade points, so he directly chose to spend. As soon as they stepped out of the store, the grocery store on the back foot was back to normal. Several people, including Ao Juang, were stunned. Even the store can be automatically restored, which is too powerful. When he reached the street, Han Yu didn't even bother to find Hulk. This guy escaped Han Yu's cage in a fit of strength, and smashed everywhere as soon as he left the grocery store. You can see traces of his destruction along the way, just follow the traces to find it. "Let's go," Han Yu said. Considering that Stark and Charles couldn't fly like them, Han Yu drove out the car and carried them. In the car, Stark took out a pair of glasses and put them on. Various data images appeared on the lenses, and he heard him say, "Jarvis, send me my battle armor." "Yes, and Veronica." "Why Veronica?" Quicksilver asked. He had also heard about Stark's iron armor in the news, but the news didn't know the name of the armor. Now that he heard such a feminine name, he was quite interested. "Veronica is a large armor that Banner and I built together. It was originally intended to be used to control Hulk, preventing no one from being able to control him when Hulk can't be controlled," Stark explained. Hearing this, Kuei Yin nodded suddenly. As for Han Yu who was driving the car, the corners of his mouth could not help but rise slightly. Of course. He also knew about Veronica's armor, which is commonly known as the anti-Hulk armor, which is equivalent to an enhanced version of Iron Man. In Hanyu's memory, this set of battle armor did have a record of fighting Hulk, but unfortunately the battle situation was not good. Hulk lost his mind at that time and was extremely violent. Stark deployed this set of armor, but the effect was not very satisfactory. In the end, he was almost beaten before he restrained Huo, causing a lot of damage to the surrounding people and buildings. Hearing this name again now, Hanyu felt nostalgic, and hearing something he knew in his previous life made him feel pretty good. In order to hurry, the two drivers were Hanyu and Ao Chuang. With their driving skills, driving in this city is the same as driving in GTA, they can do whatever they want, and the control in reality is more sensational, and the people in the car feel like they are participating in some kind of racing competition. When he saw Hulk's figure, the latter had turned into the usual Hulk appearance, but at this time, the blood vessels on his body became red and bursting. Chapter 188. There are quite a few people who were injured by the Hulk's appearance. People stood together in twos and threes, helping each other with the people around them. Their faces were full of panic. Looking at Hulk, there was only fear in their eyes. The fear in their eyes irritated Hulk even more. Normally, he was not liked by people, but now he was hit by the laughing virus, and his mind became even crazier. A little bit of dislike from others will be infinitely magnified in his heart and become even crazier. Several police cars have surrounded Hulk, surrounding the street from front to back, and several snipers have been placed on nearby buildings, keeping an eye on Hulk all the time. All the policemen pointed their guns at Hulk, and the disgust in their eyes was not concealed at all. In the face of such a powerful species, the first reaction of human beings is to eliminate them, and coexistence is impossible. Even though Hulk has the title of Avengers, it still attracts the disgust and fear of most people, just because he can't control himself too much. Facing such uncontrollable hazards, who cannot be afraid? As if feeling discriminated against by others, the scarlet in Hulk's eyes became even more intense. He looked around and finally stopped at the manhole cover at his feet. A policeman slammed him away. This speed, in the eyes of ordinary people like them, is simply impossible to dodge, and that speed is even impossible for them to take half a step. Just when the speedy discus was about to smash people into blood foam, it suddenly came to a sudden stop and froze in mid-air. There are many people here, first control him to prevent further damage. A low shout came from not far away, and several people were seen walking towards Hulk against the flow of people. One of the well-mannered men raised his right hand to the iron manhole cover, and with a wave of his hand, the manhole cover suspended in mid-air is to fly back. It hit Hulk hard on the stomach, and the huge impact made him fly a lot of distance. The person who made the shot was Charles, who had the ability to control the magnetic field. He took a few steps, looked around, spread his hands to the sides, and his eyes became deep. The smashed iron cars around were all floating into the air. Charles pushed towards Hulk with both hands, and the fragments of these cars flew towards Hulk, but they did not directly attack Hulk, but surround him. A trace of surprise flashed in Stark's eyes. He didn't expect that the friend he just met had the ability to control metal. He looked at Hanyu and asked, "Isn't Charles a scientist? Why does he still have superpowers?" Hanyu smiled, and did not explain Charles's other identity to Stark, and said, "He is indeed a scientist, but he is also a mutant, meaning humans with mutant genes. There are many in the world. I opened a school with Charles and his friends to house mutants." "Awesome, there is such an institution, it's the first time I've heard of it, so he must be the principal, right?" Stark asked. A helpless look appeared on Hanyu's face. Before he could speak, Charles in front spoke first. "I am the vice principal, and Hanyu is the principal, but he is usually the shopkeeper, and I basically do the school's affairs." Hanyu shook his head helplessly. What is a shopkeeper who throws his hands away? He didn't want to be the principal in the first place. Stark nodded. He didn't expect Hanyu and Hanyu to have such a relationship. At the same time, he also felt that something was wrong. If a school is to be established to accommodate mutants, it means that there are not a few mutants, so a school is established, which means that there will be more good and bad things that will happen in the future. Stark frowned slightly. This is not good for him, and his technology needs to be accelerated. It seems that I will have to study some armors that cannot be controlled by this ability, not really in order to prevent him. It would be terrible if there are mutants attacking in the future. After this matter is over, ask Charles for details. It would be nice to be able to invest in the school. Just as he was thinking like this, two flames flashed across the sky and fell to the ground. This was the arrival of Stark's steel armor. He quickly stepped forward and entered the steel armor of a normal body size. Immediately afterwards, he turned on the palm cannon and flew above the Hulk armor, and immediately opened the cockpit door above the Hulk armor to let him in. Double-armed Stark said, "Let me do it." Immediately, the palm cannon in his hand heard the sound of condensing energy, and the hot palm cannon laser shot out from it, hitting the iron ball surrounded by the Hulk. What he did was not to directly attack Hulk, but to melt the iron blocks to make them more tightly stitched. Some places were not enough to melt the metal, so Charles immediately manipulated a few pieces of metal to make up for it. Stark and Charles looked at each other and smiled. Although they had only known each other for a short time, they both had a tacit understanding that quickly restricted Hulk's actions. The good times don't last long, and in the next second, a dazzling light shines from the gap of the iron ball, and the cage of the iron ball that finally melted was easily broken by Hulk. Roar! A low but loud roar sounded from Hulk's mouth, and the sound shook the ordinary people present to cover their heads. Just this roar alone was not something they could bear. Immediately afterwards, I saw Hulk clenching his fists and attacking Han Yu and the others, with a faint green light above his fists. And the sharp sound of sonic boom produced in the middle of swinging his fists crazily hurt everyone's eardrums. This attack is more violent than Hulk's previous attack, and now he can use the energy like a nuclear bomb in his body. If you ask who can compete with him in terms of pure strength, he will not be weak. Then there is only one candidate among Han Yu, Ultron. In the next second, Ultron beside Han Yu stepped forward, his eyes that looked at everything indifferent suddenly became sharp, and he adopted the simplest and rude method when facing the extremely violent fist swung by Hulk. Resist. Even his 1.9 meter 9 meter nearly 2 meter stature is weaker than Hulk's, and his fists are even less than half of Hulk's little fingernail. But it happened to be such a fist, but he threw it at Hulk fearlessly, without any hesitation. If you want to fight for strength, you are still a little tender. The sharpness in Ultron's eyes turned to cruelty, and he punched Hulk directly with no fancy punch. The two fists collided, and the extremely powerful boxing wind exploded from the joint of the two fists to both sides, directly breaking through the guardrails of police cars on both sides of the street, and knocking many people into the air. Chapter 189, Beaten. The ground around the two of them heard the unbearable sound of breaking, and cracks as thick as arms spread from the feet of the two of them like spider webs, making the melon-eating crowd next to them feel goosebumps all over their bodies. Did just one punch cause so much damage? This punch came very powerfully. The punch Ultron swung didn't have any sensational momentum. It looked like a straight punch that was almost invisible, but it was no weaker than the Hulk who used gamma energy. Facing the oncoming blast, Han Yu put his hands in his pockets, his body remained motionless, and looked at Ultron with a smile on his face. This is the body refined by the Sky Demon puppet. If you want to defeat Ultron at this level, then he is too useless. As soon as Han Yu's voice fell, Ultron in front of him also smiled. He didn't relax at all. He let go of his fist in an instant, grabbed Hulk's wrist, and quickly handed over his left hand, pressing it under Hulk's armpit. With a back body, Hulk's body that weighed 1,000 pounds was thrown directly on his back. The huge force made the cracks show signs of stopping, and then continued to form cracks. Does Ultron rely on anything? His body is one of his strongest weapons. Although Hulk can use gamma energy to attack, he is still a stupid big guy who only knows how to throw his fists. But Ao Chuang is different, he has the complete boxing methods of various countries in his mind. In terms of fighting skills, he is an out-and-out master, and no one in the whole Earth, or the whole universe, can beat him in close combat. Take advantage. Hulk is strong, ridiculously strong. Now that Thor is not on the Earth, if the Avengers alone can solve this problem and subdue the Hulk, they must pay a certain price, and the price will not be too small. Although Hulk is stupid and doesn't know how to control power, each of his punches carries penetrating power, and when placed on ordinary people, this punch can smash people into blood foam without exaggeration. But he is now facing Ultron, who is not weaker than him in strength and superior in skill. Hulk's probability of winning is not high at all. Neither Charles nor Stark had another chance to make a move. Ultron alone suppressed Hulk. No matter what the latter did, Ultron punched him down with one punch. The ground cracked several cracks. People who didn't know thought it was for some kind of ground reconstruction, and the ground was being damaged all the time. Less than 5 minutes after the two fought, Ultron walked out of the pit with the dying Hulk in his arms. His punch just now created a big hole in the ground. Ao Chuang shot at Hulk, almost all to death, because he knew that Han Yu had immortal beans to restore Hulk. So when he makes a move, he just needs to ensure that he doesn't kill him. It's not a good feeling to beat him to death without killing the opponent. Is it all resolved? Looking at the dying Hulk, Han Yu was not surprised by this result. If Ultron can't even solve this, he should consider whether Ultron will stay or not. After following him for so long, no matter what, he is still a god-level existence. If a reckless guy like Hulk can't solve it, it's really shameful. It's over, let's go back, hurry up and make the antidote serum, and solve this matter as soon as possible. Ultron said. Ah, is this the end? I haven't even got a shot yet. Kuei Yin said with a sad face, is he going back after standing here for a while? Oh, it's not always a good thing to have too many experts around. I didn't even make a shot, it's over, it's so boring, this guy doesn't know how to hold on longer. Quicksilver gave Hulk a resentful look, and he blamed Hulk for not long. If Hulk was sober and heard his words, he might be so angry that he vomited blood. Hulk just wants to say, or you come and try. Han Yu took out his mobile phone and dialed the number of the US team. We just finished Hulk, you send someone to take over here and take care of the aftermath. The American team on the other end was a little surprised, and said, when I received the news, I sent someone to rush there. It should be here soon. You guys solved it so quickly. When Captain America heard Hulk appearing when he received the call, he naturally sent people to rush there immediately, but it wasn't that they were too slow, but that Han Yu and the others solved it too quickly. Solved, you guys bring someone to deal with it as soon as possible. After Han Yu finished speaking, he hung up the phone. He put the phone away, and found that the people around him were whispering to this side. With his hearing, he could still hear it if he listened carefully. It's scary. What about the Avengers? I think it's the haters. At first, I thought that the ranking list of votes on the Avengers on the internet was fake, but now it seems that Hulk's reputation at the top of the list is really well deserved. I will vote for him when I go back. Such a guy really needs to be carefully controlled. It's too scary. Hearing the comments from the people around him, Han Yu also looked at him squarely. He turned his head to look at Stark. The latter had already come out of the Hulk armor. Before the armor appeared, the matter was over. In less than 3 minutes, the people from SHIELD arrived here, and Han Yu was a little surprised by the people who came. Although he hadn't seen many faces in this world, they were already familiar faces to him. Hello, I'm Phil Coulson, a senior agent of SHIELD, the person in charge of this operation. Agent Coulson said. He was a person who joined SHIELD at the same time as Nick Fury, and he was also a confidant of Nick Fury. Han Yu was surprised because he remembered that Coulson should have died when Loki invaded New York. Now that he can see him, it seems that Coulson was impaled by Loki with the scepter. Well, I'll leave the matter to you. Han Yu patted Coulson on the shoulder and gave Ultron a look, and they left with Hulk. Looking at Han Yu who was leaving, for some reason, Coulson saw a feeling of meeting an old friend in his eyes, but he had obviously never seen him. Back at the grocery store, everything was repaired, and Stark and Charles went back to research. Allowing Han Yu to use 5 upgrade points to recover, he must be able to recover everything, including the experiment that Stark and the others were conducting just now. This time, for the sake of stability, Han Yu also stayed in the utility room, guarding the Hulk. Fearing that something might go wrong, he took out his Wanjitong mobile phone and checked the news. There were already reports about the Hulk just now messed up. The passers-by interviewed said all things that were unfavorable to Hulk, and it is unlikely that Hulk will appear as a member of the Avengers again. Otherwise, the Avengers will become the target of everyone's attack. Chapter 190 Consultant. Even Ao Chuang joined in the development of the detoxification serum this time, and his participation made the development of the detoxification serum the same as double speed. He who didn't understand anything at first, listened to Charles and Stark's explanation, not only understood everything, but also surpassed them in one breath. In the end, both Stark and Charles had to stand and watch, because their addition would only slow down the development of the antidote serum. Ultron, who was anti-client, was making potions and Charles and the two couldn't help, so they went to Han Yu not far away. He transformed a big sofa with the energy of the green light, and was sitting there comfortably playing mobile games. This guy is too powerful. Charles said. That's right, Han Yu, who is this? Are all your shop assistants so strong? Stark asked. He still doesn't know that the person in front of him is Ultron. Since the last Sokovia incident, the name Ultron has been forgotten deep in his memory. And he did see the death of Ultron, but he didn't expect that it was just a generation of Ultron, and now standing in front of him is a more intelligent and humanized Ultron, which is completely incomparable with the previous generation of Ultron. Han Yu smiled and didn't intend to hide this matter. After finishing the game, he said, "He is Ultron." Ao. Chuang. Stark was stunned for a moment, and he asked repeatedly, "You said he was Ul Chuang?" Han Yu nodded, indicating that he heard correctly. Stark suddenly turned his head to look ahead and was researching. He didn't think it would be a simple duplicate name, but he still couldn't believe it. He pointed to Ultron and said, "But, isn't Ultron a robot? The current he's clearly a human. Ultron's Sky Demon puppet body is forged by human beings. Whether it is inside or outside, Ultron looks exactly like ordinary people." It is really hard for Han Yu to believe that he is Ultron. Han Yu didn't feel strange about his reaction, so he chuckled a few times, and then said, "He was indeed a robot before. But I made him a human body and moved his consciousness to the robot. In the body, he has become a human being. Please pay attention here, I did not kill people indiscriminately." Not to mention Stark, even Charles was very surprised. It turned out that Ultron was a robot at first, and then Han Yu moved its consciousness into the body. This kind of technology is unheard of on Earth. If you take it out and talk about it, how much impact will it have on the scientific community? Ignore this for now, I have something to tell you. Han Yu waved his hand in front of the dazed two, bringing them back to their senses. "Say it," Charles said. "It's like this. I want to form a force called the Green Lantern Corps. It is specially used to deal with guys like the Hulk today, but it is not limited to the Earth. It will face the universe. Now it is calling for people. Thor and Loki have come in. Do you two want to consider becoming a consultant or something?" Han Yu said that the combat power of the two may not be the top when joining the Green Lantern Corps, but they must be top-notch in terms of intelligence. They cannot be full-fledged, and there must be some people who can read. Otherwise, when facing a big battle, how to solve it? Question. His words surprised the two of Charles very much. It would be fine to form a force on the Earth, but Han Yu actually said that he would face the universe, and now Thor and his younger brother Loki have joined. It seems that he is not joking. But to face the universe, this kind of words sound too unbelievable. The things on the Earth are difficult for them to solve, and now they are going to go to the universe. That is the universe, not a house with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The current technology of the Earth cannot allow them to encounter other planets, let alone protect other planets against those cosmic-level enemies. Before Han Yu said this, Charles and Stark had never thought about this issue. If someone else said it, they would only think that person was crazy. How could such a thing be possible? But when Han Yu said it himself, things were different. What he said must be serious. If he laughed at him, he might use real things to slap them in the face, because Han Yu could really do it. "What are you going to do?" Stark asked. "How exactly?" "After I plan to convene people, I will send people to negotiate with other planets, deal with those advanced planets that are responsible for managing other cosmic sectors, reveal our identities, and then let us take over the affairs there. We must master the intelligence network in our hands, we are active rather than passive when it comes to making things happen." Han Yu said so. Charles also asked, "But the universe is so big, and it takes light years to go out. It takes many years to send back information with technological equipment. It takes such a long time. If something happens, others will eat it. Wipe it clean, how do we solve it? This is indeed a problem. On the battlefield, communication is a very important strategic tool. Only by mastering the opponent's number information, distribution information, and marching information can we better adopt offensive and defensive tactics." As Charles said, if the news goes back and forth for many years, when something happens, let's not talk about whether it can be resolved. Just receiving it and passing it, I don't know how long it will take. And people don't know if they can still live. You don't have to worry about this, I have a solution for a long time ago. Han Yu smiled, raised his hand and condensed the energy of the green light into a green light ring, and said, "As long as this ring is worn, the holder can real-time communication with others across planets, the effect is the same as our mobile phones, and under normal circumstances, there will be no such thing as no signal." Stark took the green light ring, but he never thought that the green light ring has such a function, it can be said to be against the sky. Communication that can ignore distance, if it is used in war, the harm to the enemy is incalculable. An accurate and unmistakable strategic message, which can subvert the battlefield in a war, is a must. Otherwise, if you cover your head and hit blindly, no matter how strong the firepower is, it will not be able to withstand the blasting of others around the back. Well, are you joining? Seeing that the two loved the green light ring so much, Han Yu asked with a smile. Join, I'll join, such an interesting thing, how can I miss it? Stark said that his character is like this, he wants to do dangerous things more, and it is precisely because of his curiosity and challenge that he has made so many sets of steel armor. Han Yu looked at Charles, who pondered for a moment, then nodded. For the sake of our mutant school, if you can hug a thigh, you must hug it. Chapter 191. Haha, well, it would be great if you could join. Asgard will also give us some people to join, and we have to select some suitable people from the earth, otherwise it will be difficult to form a legion. Han Yu said. I understand the truth. Stark nodded and asked again, but why are we called the Green Lantern Corps? From your words, I can tell that this ring is a standard weapon of our legion, but isn't this a ring? It's not a lamp, although it's also green, why isn't it called the Green Ring Legion? This question made Han Yu feel like he was shot in the knee. How should I tell him? The question Stark asked is indeed reasonable. For them, when this ring appeared in front of their eyes, there was only one ring. Where did the light come from? It was called the Green Lantern Corps, which was quite strange. Han Yu rolled his eyes, and said quickly and naturally, because if the Legion is established, I will make a lantern, and every member of the Legion will have one, and the energy in the Green Lantern ring is not endless. Yes, the ring will lose power. If there is no energy, you have to use the lantern to recharge, and the lantern will also lose energy. If the lantern has no energy, you can only go back to the Earth headquarters to replenish energy. According to my estimation, a lantern full of energy can allow the holder to travel normally in the universe for about 10 years, including combat. Hearing this, Stark and Charles looked at each other and thought it was very good. When Han Yu said that the ring needs to be charged, they thought of the pros and cons of it. Said Li, this will make it easier to control every member of the Green Lantern Corps, and extract useful information from Han Yu's previous words, saying that the Green Lantern Corps will face the entire universe in the future, and the universe is so big. If the members of the Green Lantern Ring are allowed to act unscrupulously in the universe, unusual use of green light energy is also a disaster for people on other planets. Therefore, in order to reasonably control their energy usage, the restriction of charging is needed, so that their actions can be well controlled, and regular face-to-face reports can also be made. There are always things that need to be clarified face-to-face. Seeing that the two of Stark were all right, Han Yu went on to say, I have one more thing to do. Since I want to form a legion, I must need the standard uniform of the legion. Stark, can you help me do it together? This aspect is not at all what Charles is good at, so Han Yu only asked Stark. Okay, what kind of design? When it comes to suit design, Stark became interested. This is his field of interest, otherwise, where would Iron Man come from? Han Yu rubbed his chin, thinking. If it were set according to the original style of the Green Lantern Corps' tights, he felt that it would be too monotonous, and it was not particularly good in terms of defense. He wanted a suit that could protect the body in all directions. Standard combat uniform. Suddenly, he thought of a prop of his own, the Emperor's transformation belt. If Stark and their equipment are all turned into night cards, they can just carry this transformation belt with them, and everything can be put into the card box that comes with the belt after transformation to the body of the belt. In this way, people in the Green Lantern Corps can even share a set of equipment, and night cards can be unlimited. Thinking of this, Han Yu was a little excited. What a powerful combat force that would be. He quickly took out the Imperial riding belt, handed it to Stark, and said, I think this is good, we can mass-produce this and distribute it. What's this? Stark took over the Imperial cavalry belt. In his eyes, it was just an ordinary white box that could be pulled apart to stand vertically. It was nothing ordinary at all. Han Yu was about to step forward to transform him, but found that he didn't have the knight card of the main knight of the Emperor, not even the cards of other Kamen riders, so he said, well, you come with me, let me show you how this thing is used, and then we will develop it when we come back. I can guarantee that its function will definitely open your eyes. If Han Yu could say that, it would definitely not be a bad thing, and Stark immediately agreed. The two discussed for a while, saying that it is better to hit the sun than to choose a date, and they can set off now. Han Yu asked Ao Juang, how is your place, how long will it take? Ultron said, if there is no accident, it will be resolved within 2 hours. Han Yu nodded and said, we are going out. Once the detoxification serum is developed, you can contact Steve and use it with him. Don't forget to inject Banner. After Banner regains consciousness, as long as you know where he is, you can go wherever you want. Ultron nodded and gave him an okay gesture. It seems that the matter is coming to an end, isn't it my business? Charles asked. Han Yu stepped forward to shake hands with him, and said, go back, thank you for your help today. Charles touched his nose in embarrassment, and said, I didn't help much, but you can call me in the future if you need anything. I'll come with a call. As he said that, Charles also gestured for the phone with his hand. Han Yu smiled and nodded, and went with Stark to take him to the airport. After sending Charles away, in the parking lot of the airport, Han Yu stopped Stark, who was about to start the car, and said, we can leave now. I have a teleportation scroll here, so I don't need to go back to the grocery store. There was a flash of light in Han Yu's hand, and a scroll appeared in his hand, which was the scroll leading to the world of Imperial Cavalry. In this way, come on, I'm ready. Stark said. Han Yu nodded, confirmed the destination of the teleportation scroll, and after using it, the two of them disappeared in the car instantly. A car passing by them, the owner looked back at Stark's car instantly, and said in disbelief. Did I get dazzled just now? I seem to see two people disappearing in the car. He walked over and saw that there was no one there. Damn it! Chapter 192, The World Where the Emperor Cavalry Lives. Is this the place we are going to come to? It looks no different from our world. The place where the two reappeared was in a modern city. Stark originally thought it would be a place where gods flew around, but he didn't expect it to be more ordinary than imagined. That's it. Let's walk casually, maybe we will bump into the person we are looking for. Han Yu looked around suspiciously, and he didn't know what time it was. In other words, it's useless to know. When he usually watched Kamen Rider, he didn't pay attention to the timeline of the story at all, not to mention that the specific time was not mentioned much in the play, so Han Yu was even more unclear. The scroll I chose was to teleport directly to the world where the Emperor's knight is, but this guy has been wandering around in the world of other knights. I really don't know which knight's world he is in now. Han Yu had a headache, but he didn't say it out. He took Stark and the two of them started wandering around the area. They found a small stall selling Odin and sat down to eat. While eating, the owner of the stall kept talking to Han Yu, asking them if they were tourists or something, so Han Yu followed the options he gave and said that the two of them were here for fun. As he said that, Han Yu subconsciously turned his head to look at Stark, and found that Stark was eating quietly with an awkward yet polite smile. It was only then that Han Yu remembered that they didn't come to this world from the grocery store, and Stark didn't have the translation ability of the grocery store system. In Han Yu's view, he was just talking to the other party as usual. The other party spoke Japanese, but what he heard was Chinese, and what he spoke was Chinese, but the other party sounded Japanese. He took out a translation kanjak from the grocery store system and handed it to Stark, and said in a low voice, I forgot that you can't understand Japanese, eat this, and you will understand. So amazing. Stark took the translation kanjak, looked it up and down, and stuffed it into his mouth without much hesitation. As soon as he swallowed it, he was surprised to find that what sounded to him before was all gibberish. Odin the stall owner spoke only English he could understand. Amazing, this thing is much better than any fancy translator. Stark said in a low voice, if such a miraculous thing is sold on the market, the price will only increase, and it will not be lowered at all. After the two finished eating, they planned to continue wandering around. Now Han Yu didn't know where the Emperor riding Wang Xiaoming was, so he wandered around to see where there was movement. As soon as Han Yu stood up, a person ran quickly by himself and bumped into Han Yu's shoulder, but he didn't stop, he said sorry anxiously, and ran away. Hey Dong, stop! A shout sounded from behind, and then another person passed him by. Han Yu turned his head and saw that the familiar face in his mind matched the person in front of him. This person was Emperor Qi, Wang Xiaoming, no, Manyashi. So, the person who ran in front just now is the second knight of the Emperor's rider, the phantom thief Kamen Rider known as Mrs. Heidong, Die-end. Han Yu murmured in his heart. Die-end is a Kamen rider who uses a pistol to transform. After the transformation, his state is mainly blue. He travels through various worlds with comrade Emperor Xiaoming, and then secretly steals treasures with special powers or special meanings. He often brings troubles to Emperor Qi, but because he is the second cavalry, he fell in love with Emperor Qi Wang Xiaoming and killed each other. At first, the two said they were enemies, but finally became friends. Because Emperor Qi is too used to him, he is nicknamed Mrs. Heidong by the majority of netizens. Follow them, this is the person we are looking for, Wang Xiaoming. Han Yu took out a few Japanese currency bills from his pocket, slapped them on the table and ran away with Stark. After finally finding someone, how could they just let them go like this? Going for a run as soon as he had a full meal, Stark almost vomited. Fortunately, he was also exercising and maintained a certain amount of exercise, so he wouldn't stop after a few steps. By the way, is the person we're looking for called Wang Xiaoming? Stark swallowed with some difficulty, and asked Han Yu who was running ahead after holding his breath. Not all, the person we are looking for is indeed him, but his real name is Menyashi, just because he likes to collect other people's transformation cards everywhere. This behavior is the same as a character known to netizens in my hometown. Cards or something, so we used that character's name to jokingly call Menyashi, and now I'm used to it, so I call him Brother Xiaoming. Han Yu explained that he didn't explain which character it was, because Stark didn't know who it was, so it was just right. Stark also knows the general reason, and he doesn't care who it is. Chasing and chasing, Han Yu, who was running in front, pressed his palm. Stark slowed down his speed knowingly, tried to lighten his footsteps and followed Han Yu, and finally the two hid in a bush, quietly peeping outside. "Hey Dong, give me back the thing, that's my night card," said Wang Xiaoming, pointing at the box Hey Dong was holding. "Do you want it? It depends on your strength." Hey Dong smiled wickedly, turned his right hand back, and when he came out again, a black pistol with a strange appearance appeared in his hand. "If you want to fight, I will definitely accompany you to the end." Wang Xiaoming took out something from his four-dimensional chrysanthemum with a sullen face. Stark shrank his pupils slightly when he saw that thing. "That's the belt you showed me before?" Stark asked in surprise. "That's right, we're lucky. I didn't expect to see what I wanted you to see so soon. If you look carefully, you will be shocked," Han Yu said with a chuckle. Then, Stark saw that both Wang Xiaoming and He Dong took out a card, one inserted the card into the pistol, and the other inserted it into the belt, and both of their transformation drives gave out a mechanical male voice. "Kamen Ride. Die-end/Decade. Transform." With a cry of transformation, the magenta crystal card and the blue crystal card flew out of the two people's transformation devices, and landed on them. The two turned into a light and thin person wearing similar armor. The color of the Emperor's body was mainly magenta and black, and there were several card-like things stuck on his forehead. The huge green compound eyes on the upper third are very eye-catching. On the other hand, Die-end's body is made of blue and black, the upper and lower parts of his abdominal muscles are black, the sides of his waist are blue, and the card-like thing on his head looks more conspicuous than Die-end. Chapter 193 Transformation Card. This is how the two of them completed their transformation. Han Yu was a little excited when he saw it. He saw it with his own eyes. The real transformation is completely different from what he saw on TV in his previous life. What kind of operation is this? Stark's eyes widened. This way of dressing doesn't even feel as cool as the nanotechnology he's been researching recently. How did he do it? That's what I want you to see, and it would be nice if we could make that, and what else? Han Yu chuckled and raised his head to signal him to continue watching. In the next second, Wang Xiaoming took out a card and inserted it into his belt again. This time he changed his form. Han Yu is no stranger to him. This is Kamen Rider Phase. In the next second, the figure of Emperor Qi disappeared in front of the three people, and Zhongqi Heidong was beaten into the air. Not to be outdone, Heidong took out a card from his waist and pulled the front of the pistol away, and there was a place to insert the card. Once the card was inserted, he made a movement similar to loading a pistol. The card-shaped things were placed in a circle in front of his gun and stacked on top of each other. After he pulled the trigger, a powerful bullet laser shot out from the pistol, and then he turned in a circle, causing the bullet to rotate at 360 degrees. "Scan it again," stopped the high-speed moving Imperial cavalry. Stark was stunned by the power, which shouldn't be. What he just inserted into the pistol was a card and not an energy core. How could it be possible to shoot such a strong laser through such a small muzzle? This is simply too unscientific. Listening to Stark's complaints, Han Yu was a little dumbfounded. It is true to say that it is unscientific. After all, their literal settings are so high that the data is so high, but in reality, it is just like that. It's all because of the plot. No matter how strong the setting is, it can be killed by the plot. What do we do next? Stark asked. How to do it, of course, is to grab Brother Xiaoming's card. Without his transformation card, it is not very useful for us to obtain other people's transformation cards. Han Yu said that if you use the Emperor's transformation card to transform, and then use other people's transformation cards, the effect is to add other people's special skills on the basis of the Emperor's Knight. If the card is directly inserted, the result will be to directly transform into someone else. For example, Han Yu will change from his god-level state to a mortal like Captain America. Doesn't the transformation die quickly enough? At the same time, the voice of the grocery store system sounded in Han Yu's mind. Complete the instant task, solve the commotion caused by the Hulk, reward upgrade points, 300 points. Han Yu's eyes flickered slightly, and the voice rang out, which meant that the laughing virus in Hulk had been untied, so his mission was completed. System, open my personal attribute panel. Name, Han Yu. Grocery store level, Junior Store Manager. Basic abilities, Immortal Seal, Magical Conch. Limited items, Emotional Potion, Storm Cry 1, Item Extraction Card 2, Blank Knight Card *5. Permanent props, Green Light Ring, Emperor Riding Transformation Device, Super Quality Earphones, Wanjitong Mobile Phone, Dead Bully Outfit. Arsenal, Ice Wheel Pill, Haoshan Hammer, 1 ring. Existing upgrade points, 595. Points required for promotion, 1000. Is there an upgrade point of about 600 points? Well, you can use it for 2 empty cards first. Han Yu said in his heart, System, exchange for 2 empty cards for the Emperor's belt for me. It's being exchanged for you, the exchange is successful, and it consumes 60 upgrade points. With his right hand beside him, Han Yu lightly pinched his 2 fingers, and 2 transparent empty cards appeared in his hand. He looked at Emperor Qi and Final Qi who were fighting tightly not far away, and with the hand holding the card, he flicked his wrist, and the 2 cards flew out. The cards were stuck on both of them, and the originally transparent empty card now had content. On it were the full body portraits of Emperor Qi and Zhong Qi after their transformations. What is this? The Emperor noticed the card stuck on his body, and just about to reach out to take it, it flew out spiritually again, and flew into the grass not far away. Finally Qi also noticed the strangeness, stopped his movements, and the 2 of them looked into the grass together. He even raised his pistol and shouted, "Who is there? Come out!" Within a few seconds, the bushes trembled, and 2 figures stood up and walked out slowly. One of the younger men held a card in each of his left and right hands, with an unconcealable smile on his face. Looking carefully, the card in his hand was the transparent card that had just been pierced to them, and now the content in it had become them. Shaking the card in his hand, Han Yu smiled at the 2 emperors and said, "Thank you, you really helped me a lot." Emperor Qi and Final Qi both don't understand, what does this mean? But the other party appeared in this way, it is very likely that he is not a good person. The 2 sides looked at each other, nodded slightly, and at the same time ran towards Han Yu. Wow, they were fighting just now, and now they're on the same front. They're full of love. Han Yu chuckled, and saw his right hand back, and when he came out again, he was holding a white belt drive. After seeing the white driver, the face under the Emperor's mask showed a look of surprise, and a strange feeling spread all over his body, which made him stop subconsciously, and said, "Why do you have that driver?" Zhong Qi also stopped with him, looking at Han Yu solemnly, "Is that the second Emperor Qi transformation driver? How could it be possible?" No matter if it was their own or the Imperial Cavalry's, or other knights, their exclusive drive should be unique, and they hadn't lost it themselves, so how could others have it? Obviously, they couldn't know this question, because Han Yu didn't bother to explain it to them. A touch of excitement moved on Han Yu's face. He put the belt around his waist, clamped the Emperor's transformation card with 3 fingers, and said, "Come and see how powerful it is." As he spoke, he tapped the card with his index finger, opened the belt and inserted the card into the drive of the belt, and after closing it, a transformation effect exactly the same as that of the Emperor Qi appeared in mid-air, and in front of the two Emperor Qi, another Emperor Qi appeared. Oh, is this the power of the Imperial Cavalry? It feels good. Han Yu moved his body and looked at his fists clenched. He felt a steady stream of power surging in his body, and it was easy to kill the cow with one punch. Stark, go to the side, I'm afraid of accidentally hurting you. Hearing this, Stark backed away a lot and stood far away. Han Yu took down a white box worn on his right shoulder, fiddled with his hands, and the lower left and upper right corners of the white box became a sword handle and blade. Holding the long sword, Han Yu flicked the blade with his palm, and smiled, I'm going to go, you have to be ready. Chapter 194 Just now in a daze. Different from the fighting style of the two Emperor Cavalry, Han Yu is a person who has experienced a life and death duel, and those who can make him take action are extremely not weak guys, which makes Han Yu's methods have real cruelty in them of. In comparison, the fights of Kamen Riders, in Han Yu's eyes, are no different from children's fights. Han Yu has Hiran Meru, and he is a master of swordsmanship. Unlike the Kamen Rider who uses a sword, he does not only use the sword to stab or slash. Fast, ruthless, and accurate are the three standards for him to fight with a sword. After all, this is not a play, as long as you hold a sharp weapon, you will face a potentially fatal battle. Are you ready? Kahei's long sword pointed at the ground obliquely, and Han Yu walked slowly towards them, a breathless sense of oppression emanated from him. Although the two Emperor Riders hadn't fought him yet, they were both in awe at the same time. They could feel an oppressive force from Han Yu that they had never had before. Who the hell is this guy? This kind of aura is so strong. He will not be weaker than any opponent we have seen before. This battle cannot be sloppy. If he is sloppy, he will really die. After Zhongqi said these words, both he and Diqi felt goosebumps all over his body. The man who suddenly appeared and transformed into the appearance of Emperor Qi had such a terrifying and depressing aura on his body. His face will change drastically in front of him. No, we have to act first. Emperor Qi and Zhongqi looked at each other and nodded. Finally Qi raised his pistol and aimed it at Han Yu, intending to provide long-range assistance. On the other hand, Emperor Qi raised his wrist and held his sword in a charging posture. What he had to do was to seesaw in close combat. But before the two of them could make a move, a soft sound of wind rang in their ears. Scold! They blinked, and when they opened their eyes, Han Yu in front of them disappeared. Immediately afterwards, a lot of flames burst out from their bodies, and the two of them flew backwards to both sides with a cry of pain. What's going on? What happened? Daiki looked dazed, he held his chest in pain, and looked behind. Han Yu appeared behind the two of them where they were originally standing, with a distance of tens of meters, and he came behind them in the blink of an eye. Moreover, it was still in the original form of the Emperor's cavalry, so it was impossible to see when the opponent made a move. And that soft sound of wind blowing was exactly the sound of Kahei's long sword passing over them. It's so fast. I've never seen Ash with such a moving speed. It's impossible. How could he use this speed without using other cards? This made Zhongqi feel very unbelievable. He didn't usually have this kind of explosive power. To have this kind of explosive power, he had to either use a trick card or use other night cards with acceleration capabilities. Otherwise, this speed is difficult for them to achieve. Well, did you use too much force all of a sudden? This armor is more useful than I thought. How do you usually take half an episode to beat a mob? Han Yu complained. From his point of view, he only used less than 10% of his strength just now, which is about the peak of ordinary people, and the peak physical fitness that few sportsmen among human beings on Earth can achieve. But even with a body of this level, it is impossible to say that running out can fly off the ground like an arrow from the string. Like the world record of the world sprint champion Bolt, he ran 100 meters in 9.72 seconds. Han Yu's distance of less than 100 meters lasted 20 to 30 meters, but it was only a blink of an eye. If it were Brother Daiki and Zonki, they would definitely not be able to reach this speed. The two Emperor Riders couldn't understand Han Yu's complaints. If someone stood in front of Han Yu one day and said that his world was a novel world, he would think the other party was crazy. This guy is much more powerful than we imagined, and it seems to be serious. Zhongqi said seriously that he didn't know what Han Yu appeared for, but he obtained Emperor Qi transformation card in this strange way, and then killed the two of them with such crushing strength. If you still hide your clumsiness, then in their eyes, it will be a way to die. Oh? Do you still want to fight? Seeing the two struggling to stand up, Han Yu didn't seem to give up. He was about to fight again with his sword when he heard a voice in his mind. Obtain the transformation cards of Kamen Rider Imperial Rider's main and secondary riders, and have collected the transformation cards of all the knights of this night, and get rewards, upgrade points, 4,000. The sound of the grocery store system made Han Yu stand still for a while. If it wasn't for the last bullet fired, he subconsciously blocked it, and used the box sword to bounce the bullet to the other side. 4,000 upgrade points, there are actually 4,000 upgrade points. Han Yu murmured to himself, startled by the huge reward points. Seeing him block and then stand still, Emperor Qi and Zhong Qi thought they had seized the opportunity, so they rushed towards Han Yu and attacked him. Han Yu immediately accepted the move, and fought back and forth with the two of them. In fact, Han Yu didn't know what he was doing at all, his body movements were all subconscious blocks and attacks. And his mind was all entangled in why he got so many upgrade points. Could it be because there are only two main knights in the drama Kamen Rider Emperor Rider? Han Yu thought this way in his heart, although Emperor Qi was always accompanied by a Kamen Rider named Kuraga. But Kuraga is not from the world of Imperial Knights, but a Kamen Rider from another world. The transformation methods of the two are completely different. The transformation of the Emperor's Knight is characterized by card insertion, multiple forms, and crossing into other worlds. There is only one knight who is related to and close to the Emperor's Knight. So they are the main rider and the second rider in Kamen Rider Emperor Rider, and getting the cards of the two of them is to collect all the cards of the series of knights. The grocery store system released a long-term mission when Han Yu got the belt, the power of the Dead King. The task description says that for every 1/3 of a Kamen Rider series card group, you can get very rich rewards, and if you get all the cards in the card group, the rewards are even more unimaginable. It's just too hard to imagine. Han Yu took a long breath, his voice trembling a little. He really never thought that he would be so rich that he would give 4,000 upgrade points. Thinking of this, Han Yu gave a tisk, and suddenly felt a little irritable. If he had thought of this earlier, he would have been a mid-level store manager by now, or even above that. After Han Yu collected the transformation cards of two people, he completed the collection task of a Kamen Rider series card group. Now that Han Yu has directly collected a series of Kamen Rider decks, he has obtained up to 4,000 upgrade points, which is already a very large number. It was precisely because of this that Han Yu didn't intend to embarrass the two emperors. Seeing that the other party had allowed him to obtain 4,000 skill points so easily, Han Yu let them go and released the transformation state. Only then did Han Yu come back to his senses, paying attention to what was in front of him. He was taken aback for a moment. Sorry, I was in a daze just now, and I just realized it. What's wrong with you? Chapter 195 Brother Emperor Qi and Number 039, S Doubts. Seeing that the other party voluntarily exited the transformation state, Emperor Qi and Zhong Qi couldn't hold back the transformation, and they supported their knees with their hands and gasped for breath. Hearing this, Emperor Qi and Zhong Qi were stunned. What do you mean just reacted? We played so hard just now, is it all your subconscious behavior? What kind of monster is this person? What kind of operation is this? In just a few minutes, Emperor Qi and Final Qi felt that it would take a lifetime to repair it. Before Han Yu finished speaking, out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of a red light flying towards him. The way the red light appeared was very familiar to Han Yu, and before he had time to think about it, the red light flooded into Han Yu's body. Strands of white fine sand fell from Han Yu's trousers, and in the next second, a red scarf was wrapped around his neck, and the hair on his forehead became fiery red, which was similar to Han Yu's usual style. Great access! At this moment, Han Yu also understood which Kamen Rider's world this world is. This is the world of Kamen Rider Den-O, known as Second Uncle's Nightmare. Han Yu's hair turned red. And the smile on his face became much more arrogant. He changed so suddenly that none of them could react. They saw him look around, his eyes stopped on a passing man not far away, and he ran towards him. He grabbed the man by the collar and said, "Hey, you are inside, come out quickly." A look of panic flashed across the face of the man who was grabbed by the collar. It was a look of being seen through, but in the next second, the panic on his face turned into that of an ordinary person. It's just panic by the collar. Seeing that the other party refused to admit it, Han Yu still did not change his tone, and said viciously, "If you insist on not coming out, I don't mind beating your body to force you to come out, anyway, you can feel the pain, right?" Unexpectedly, the other party would be so decisive, the panic expression on the man's face disappeared instantly, replaced by a cunning expression. A light yellow ball of light flew out of his body, and turned into a mole-like weirdo covered in metal on the ground. This is the weirdo in Kamen Rider Electric King, known as the different demon god, who becomes stronger by listening to the wishes of human beings, and then traveling to the past to distort the real wishes of the contractors in the way they think is correct. "Hey, are you finally willing to come out?" Han Yu chuckled, took out a belt from behind that was different from that of Emperor Qi and the others, put it on, and then took out a black box to brush the belt. "Change." As soon as he yelled a word, Han Yu trembled, and then, a red light cluster squeezed out from his body, turning into a half-length figure made of white sand, and fell to the ground beside him. "You change your head, you change, do I allow you to change?" The name of the alien demon god who possesses Han Yu's body is Tao Taros, who belongs to the righteous alien demon god, in order to protect time and prevent the evil alien demon god from changing the past. You can squeeze me out with your subjective consciousness, how did you do it?" Taotaros looked blankly at Han Yu in front of him. It was the first time that he was possessed by someone and ejected with his own consciousness. He had never seen such a situation before. There were so many things that happened in the blink of an eye, not to mention that Taotaros didn't recover, even Wang Xiaoming and He Dong who were beside him didn't react. What the hell is this Sandman who suddenly appeared? Han Yu looked at the Sandman and said, "It seems that if you can't possess a human being, you won't be able to maintain your body. How about this, I'll give you a body to use." With a snap of the fingers, there is a chance that the energy of the green light will pour into Taotaro's body, and he will change from the state of the Sandman into the appearance of a red ghost, which is his original appearance. This move shocked the rest of the lives of the three people present except Stark. What kind of operation was this? Han Yu is still wearing a belt now, and he reached out to get the card box at his waist, and made it into the card box sword mode. He wiped the blade of the knife with his palm, and looked to the other side, where the evil demon god was still standing beside him. Seeing him looking towards him, the Zi demon god shuddered involuntarily. He was clearly a human being, but that half-smile expression made him feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Zi demon god immediately dispelled his fighting spirit, thinking that he was the most terrifying existence among these few people. "There is only one thought in my heart, absolutely don't mess with him. Hurry up and run away from me." Zi demon god turned his head and wanted to run, but there were two pistol shots behind him. Before he could turn his head, he felt a sharp pain in his legs. Mud. When he looked back, the box sword in Han Yu's hand had turned into a box gun, and the black muzzle was still pointing at him. It was obvious that he was the one who just shot. "That's it, don't underestimate me." Zi demon god was still a bit stubborn, he struggled to stand up, but the other party's reaction ability made him feel that he would definitely not be able to run away. Since he couldn't run away, he would have to take away a Kamen Rider if he died, so it wouldn't be a loss. "It's fine for you to lie down, don't get up." Han Yu's smiling words came out from under the mask. Seeing him pull the trigger again, several light bullets shot at the evil demon god. These two shots hit his knees. As long as it is humanoid, whether it is a human or a monster, the knees are an important part that can support them to stand up. He had been shot in the thigh earlier, and now he was shot twice in the knee. Zi demon god let out a scream, and his body that had just got up on the ground fell down again because of the severe pain from his knees. Han Yu didn't stop, he continued to shoot, but the impact of each shot was not fatal. After the knee, it was the arm, then the stomach, the chest. A dozen shots were fired in a row, and the shots were accurate, but none of them were fatal. The Emperor Qi, Final Qi, and Tao Taros who were standing beside were all stunned. It was the first time they saw someone torturing a strange person like this. Can it be over quickly? Taotaros, who was also a different demon god, couldn't stand it anymore, it was too miserable. "Why, you can't bear it." Han Yu turned his head to look at Tao Taros, the pistol still pointed at Zi demon god, and said, "You don't usually strike lightly, do you seem to blow up others directly?" "No, I'm just a little annoyed hearing him screaming, let me just chop him up." "It's okay to say that I can't bear it, Tao Taros and the other demon gods have no feelings at all." "Okay, then solve it quickly, I'm tired of playing too." Chapter 196 Thank you Brother Emperor Qi. Han Yu smiled. He closed the gun handle of the card box, opened it like a book, and pulled out a golden card from it. This is the kill card. Han Yu opened the belt driver, put the card in it, and when he closed it again, an icon of Emperor Cavalry appeared on his belt, and a burst of light shone on his feet. He jumped lightly, turned a circle in the air, raised his foot and kicked down. Night kicks. With just one blow, the Zi demon god was killed. He was already on the verge of death, and he couldn't run away, and Han Yu didn't give him a good time, and the evil demon god wanted to cry for him. It's too miserable to be killed in the next life and not be a different demon god. After solving the evil god Han Yu, he twisted his neck and let out a long breath. Using Kamen Rider's skills was more enjoyable than he imagined. Looking at this scene, Brother Xiaoming and Zhongqi Heidong looked at him with their mouths slightly open, but did not speak. Even Doudaro stayed where he was. And he, who was always lively, was completely silent at this moment. What did they just see? Han Yu performed a night kick in an ordinary manner. Did you see what happened just now? Mrs. Heidong said in a daze. Wang Xiaoming nodded slowly, with a dull expression. Is it possible to use a night kick under the circumstances of an ordinary person? This is impossible. An ordinary person's body can't bear the ability enhancement brought by the night system. If an ordinary person comes to do this, let alone whether he can kick this kick. Ordinary human beings can bear. Therefore, it is necessary to transform into a Kamen Rider and kick this kick in the form of a Kamen Rider. Wang Xiaoming thinks that he is not very strong, but he is beyond ordinary people. After all, whoever is a decent person can travel through time and space with a wave of his hand. His own bodily functions, compared to ordinary people, can be regarded as overwhelmed. Even so, he dare not say that it is impossible to kick Kamen Rider in the form of an ordinary person. My worldview has been refreshed. Wang Xiaoming said. He has traveled through various Kamen Rider worlds, and he has never seen anyone who can use the Kamen Rider's big move without transforming himself. This is the first time he saw him, he was really shocked. Han Yu put away the card box, turned around and saw Wang Xiaoming and Heidong staring at him, so he said, "Why are you staring at me? Do you still want to fight?" Wang Xiaoming and Heidong looked at each other and shook their heads. The former even said, "No more fights. If you don't mean anything, there's no need to fight." Judging from what Han Yu had said to them, Wang Xiaoming believed that the other party had no intention of hurting them at all, but that it was unimaginable to have his own belt and be himself. He traveled through the worlds of various Kamen Riders and obtained their transformation cards. He never thought that one day he would be given his own transformation card by others, and then transformed into himself, which completely refreshed the worldview. The other party didn't want to fight, and Han Yu wouldn't force it. He didn't come to fight in the first place, so it would be great if he could fight. He just wanted to collect some fighting data for Stark, and he didn't want to fight with them either. Fight. Han Yu didn't talk to them much, but walked towards Stark not far away, and asked him, "How is the data collection going?" "Very good, you bring me your belt for a while when you go back, and I will start researching immediately." Stark held a small camera in his hand, which recorded the battle scene of Han Yu just now. Although the latter had been in a trance for a long time just now, his body's subconscious reaction has been helping him cope with the battle. It is precisely because of this that Han Yu's battle just now was much simpler than his usual flashy, energy-flying fighting style, which allowed Stark to collect more common people's fighting time. The moves that can be used. Otherwise, if Han Yu is allowed to attack independently, the opponent will not be able to withstand it if he is full of momentum. After all, the world of Kamen Rider does not have spiritual deterrence. In other words, Han Yu's spiritual power is felt by the other party, that is, there are several palms tightly grasping his limbs, and there is an invisible giant mountain pressing down on them. In their hearts. It is difficult for them to take a breath. "That's good, let's go back to our world." Han Yu asked. "Go back? I can't wait to study that belt." Stark replied. The purpose of coming to this world this time is to let Stark see Kamen Rider's transformation and fighting style, and there is nothing else. Han Yu didn't have too much nostalgia, he waved the transformation card in his hand to Wang Xiaoming, and said with a smile, "Thank you, Brother Daiki, for your cooperation." After all, a teleportation scroll appeared in Han Yu's free hand, and with a little force on his palm, the two of them disappeared directly in the eyes of Wang Xiaoming and the others. A few people ran over, Tao Taro stepped on the ground, knelt down and felt it, and said, they really disappeared. Both Wang Xiaoming and He Dong rolled their eyes helplessly. They could tell the nonsense, they had to squat down and touch the ground, and their behavior was too confusing. But who is that guy? What does he mean by their world? He Dong was a little confused. Wang Xiaoming said, they are not from this world, they should have the ability to go to other worlds like us, and I'm sure the other party will not be anyone from the world of Kamen Rider. He Dong nodded. They have the Kamen Rider transformer, and they know that they can't use the Kamen Rider's ultimate move in ordinary people's posture. If it can be used, it must be not an ordinary person. It's a pity that they don't have a chance to know the truth about Han Yu's doubts. Then I'll give you my transformation device first. How many days is your estimated production date? Han Yu handed the Emperor's transformation device to Stark and asked him. It's hard to say, after all, your thing can be regarded as something that refreshes my worldview. If I want to understand it, it may take several days. The production of the battlesuit is not difficult. The main thing is to learn the technology of the card and the transformation device. I don't know how many difficulties we have to face, and it should take 2 or 3 months to make it. Stark was playing with the Emperor's driver, and suddenly felt that the atmosphere in front of him was not right, it was too quiet. He looked up and found Han Yu looking at him with a surprised look. What's wrong, is it too slow? No, it was too fast. Han Yu was a little speechless. He originally thought that the expectation was 2 to 4 years, because the transformation device did not belong to their world, and the principle of it was too difficult to explain clearly. If you want to start from scratch, the 3 or 4 years that Han Yu expected is already a very short time, and it is not surprising that it takes 7 or 8 years. But Stark said that he can make it in a few months. He is indeed a super genius who has built more than 40 sets of steel armor in just a few years. Even Thanos knows him, and he said that he is not the only one. Cursed by knowledge. Isn't this just boasting of being smart in disguise? Chapter 197 The Devilish Genius. You take things back and make them, and just tell me if there is anything that needs to be spent. Han Yu said it generously on the surface, but his heart was bleeding. The other party is building a unified battlesuit for his Green Lantern Corps, and Han Yu should provide all the things and funds needed. Stark said with a smile, if there is anything unusual, I will definitely ask you for it. As for other things, I will count it on my head, and it will be my thanks. Thank you. Han Yu was a little puzzled. You have brought me a big challenge. If I study it thoroughly, it will also be an epic making progress for my armor technology. Speaking of it, I actually think that I should take the initiative to undertake the research required for this time funding, Stark said. Han Yu opened his mouth, but said nothing. Obviously, I asked him to do things, but why did I give myself a thank you instead? Is this the thinking of a genius? It's really different from ordinary people. Han Yu murmured in his heart. Seeing that Han Yu was speechless because of his own words, Stark couldn't help laughing, patted him on the shoulder, said goodbye to him and left the grocery store. Now he is like a child who got a new toy, and he can't wait to start playing with the new toy in his hand. Seeing Stark leaving, Han Yu was relieved. It doesn't matter if he doesn't need money, but he is indeed not rich. Now relying on the income of GDA, it can earn billions or even tens of billions a month. As the only 3A masterpiece in the world, it is in the top state when it appears. Until now, there are still many people who have not studied how to play. Ultron, a guy who can connect to a computer, although he plays games every day, is actually researching weapon skins, clothes, houses, cars, etc. In reality, he can move in. What doesn't exist in reality, he can also develop a lot of novel things with his brain. These things don't exist in reality, but they exist in the game. In order to save some time, Ultron even directly released an event on the official website as the game manager, allowing players to independently design the equipment in the game, and those that are adopted will be added to the game. Once admitted, they will be rewarded with generous real currency and game currency, and when the number of equipment sold reaches a certain level, players will be given money in a certain proportion, which is still real currency. This event made players who already had a lot of crazy ideas squeeze their heads to participate. It can not only make their works appear in the game, but also get money. Why not do it? Also because Ultron had this idea, it drove more people to buy game equipment. On the one hand, they wanted this equipment, and on the other hand, they wanted to draw some inspiration from it. The income of GDA increased by leaps and bounds. It's true that Han Yu is rich now, but it's also because their living expenses are not much. Although Han Yu paid Ultron and Kuei Yin their salaries, the salary they paid was enough for them to dominate the entire GDA server, but both of them no flowers. It is said that with their technology, if there is more money, there will be no fun in the game. If you don't charge money, you will have the idea of going to the liver to play games for something. If you charge money, everything will become dull. The real money of the two of them added up to nearly 1 billion. Because there were only the three of them in the grocery store, although Han Yu would occasionally send $1 or $2 million to Wanda's account as pocket money for her, the rest were shared by the three of them. There is also a huge expenditure, that is, a monthly subsidy fee of 100 million is given to the mutant school, which is not a small sum of money for a grocery store. So now if there is one more expenditure for the Green Lantern Corps uniform, Han Yu's life will become desolate, but it is impossible to have too much money, maybe only a few $100,000 a month in pocket money. Just as Stark was being sent away, Han Yu received another call. He picked up the phone and checked that it was from Captain America. "Steve, what's wrong? I heard from Stark that you want to create a legion. Do you want to accept people? Bucky and I want to join." Captain America's words surprised Han Yu. Han Yu asked, "Want to join my army? Are you busy with SHIELD? I'm just a soldier. Even if SHIELD finds out about Hydra, I'm just the captain, not the person in charge. If you still need someone, I think I can go and fight," Captain America said. Han Yu was silent. It's not that he never thought of calling Captain America, but he also thought of discovering the invasion of Hydra in S.H.I.E.L.D. Captain America is one of the few people Nick Fury can trust. Maybe he will become a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the future. Secretary. It was precisely because of this that Han Yu did not look for him. Han Yu is too lazy to rob others, he will come if he wants to, and he will be knocked down if he doesn't come. He didn't ask, but Captain America took the initiative to call. "Where is the S.H.I.E.L.D? I can quit at any time, as long as you agree, I will apply immediately," Captain America said. It seemed that he was ready to quit SHIELD. Han Yu thought for a while, and the joining of the US team must be a good thing for him. The latter has been the captain for so long, and he must be better at managing the army than himself. Han Yu can provide equipment and be a military leader, but in terms of leading the army, he still needs professional people. Han Yu also wanted to find someone who was good at commanding the army, but he didn't expect the other party to come by himself, saving him from looking for it. And this candidate is still the US team, which is the best choice in Han Yu's heart. The US team's ability to lift Thor's hammer in the end means that he has this qualification, whether it is lifting the hammer or joining the Green Lantern Corps. "Okay, I agree with you to join. It's just that you can help me find some trustworthy people. The number of our army is still not enough," Han Yu said. "Ordinary people?" Captain America asked. The ordinary people in his mouth refer to those human beings without superpowers. "Yes, ordinary people are fine, but remember, it must be someone you can trust," Han Yu repeatedly urged. "I see." Captain America knew what he meant, and Han Yu believed in himself. He thinks that he is a trustworthy person, and if he can trust himself, Han Yu can initially trust him. "Come to the grocery store at 8 o'clock tonight. If you gather together like this, the basic number of people is enough. Let's allocate the seats," Han Yu said. "Good." Captain America chatted with Han Yu for a few more words, then hung up the phone and applied to quit SHIELD. Han Yu sat on the chair, leaned against the back of the chair, squinted his eyes slightly, and let out a long breath. "Sol, Rocky, Steve, Bucky, Stark, plus my green light ring, this lineup is enough to sweep the forces of other planets." Chapter 198 Loki and Number 039, S so-called progress. Before the US team arrived, Han Yu contacted Thor and Loki, who were far away in Asgard, and sent an interstellar video communication to their two brothers with the green light ring. After a while, the video communication was quickly connected. Han Yu swiped his right hand in the air, and the busts of Sol and Loki appeared in midair. "Wow, this thing can still be used like this, it's amazing." As soon as the video was connected, Loki's startled voice came over, and Asgard didn't have such a magical means of communication. Sol rolled his eyes, looking helpless. Although he was a little surprised by the communication method of the green light ring, he calmed down and asked Han Yu first. "What's the matter, Han, Are there any other candidates for the Green Lantern Corps? His guess is that he guessed the reason, and now Sol is more able to use his brain instead of his hands. When something happened, his first thought was not to attack directly with a hammer, but to think about how to defeat the opponent more conveniently and safely. This made his subsequent battles a lot easier. The former reckless man has now become very good at thinking. You guessed it right, I found 2 more people, you also know, Steve, and the other is his friend Bucky. I plan to form 3 subgroups first. I will discuss with you first, after that, just let's talk about it later, Han Yu said. Sol pondered for a moment, then couldn't help nodding his head. He had no objection that the person Han Yu recruited was Captain America. He is also a member of the Avengers. During the previous battle in New York, the US team commanded on the spot and issued orders in an orderly manner. In battle, having a commander with clear thinking can determine the outcome of the battlefield. Sol doesn't have this kind of command ability, and he doesn't know if Han Yu has it, but the latter has found a US team now, not to mention Han Yu, he is definitely the most suitable commander for the US team alone. Sol is ashamed of the American team's ability to perform on the spot. If he had that kind of command ability, Asgard would not have fallen so quickly during the Three Kingdoms' continuous attack. Hearing that the new recruit was actually Captain America, Rocky pouted instead, "It's him, I don't like this guy." During the Battle of New York, he remembered Captain America clearly. If this human being hadn't arranged tactics in an orderly manner, the Avengers would definitely not be able to deal with the army he brought in such an orderly manner. He was still thinking about the day when he would have a chance to take revenge, but he didn't expect that now they would become comrades in arms. Han Yu was not surprised by Loki's reaction. He shrugged and said with a light smile, "That's a pity. I can only wrong you to quit. After all, we really need an excellent commander." Hearing this, Loki was a little dissatisfied, and said, "I can do it too, I have led people to invade your Earth anyway." What he said made Han Yu and Sol a little dumbfounded. "You have attacked the Earth and you still say it so confidently. Do you think it's appropriate for you to tell us this?" Han Yu looked at Loki with a half-smile. There were 3 people present, one invaded the Earth, the other helped protect the Earth, and the last one was a human from the Earth. It was embarrassing for Loki to say so. Maybe because he felt that the atmosphere was not right, Loki finally realized how uncomfortable he was talking to them, laughed a few times, and added, "This, after all, is also a battle, and the cause and result are not the same. What is important is that I also conducted quite well during the period." His words cannot be denied. Han Yu did not see it with his own eyes at the time, and there is no fragment of Loki commanding the aliens in his memory. But when those aliens invaded, they were able to spread out and disperse the power of the Avengers, which was also due to Loki's command. If it weren't for the top executives of SHIELD to send a nuclear bomb, and Iron Man Stark rushed into the wormhole with the nuclear bomb, the final result would not be too good even if the Earth won. After all, it was a nuclear bomb, and the attack range was enough to destroy New York. Although the aliens brought by Loki have high technology, they are not high enough to resist nuclear bombs casually. They are pre-nuclear creatures just like humans. That is, species that were not born after a nuclear explosion are not immune to nuclear radiation or a certain degree of nuclear explosion impact, and will still be killed by grenade bombs and the like. Han Yu said, "That won't work either. In the end we won, and since you came to melee combat with the title of Asgard's top magician, I think you can't do it." Hearing the fact that he likes to stab people with a dagger again, Loki was so embarrassed that he said quickly, "I'm changing it. Hela has been training me in magic attacks during this time, and I've made great progress." When he was talking, he kept winking at Sol, using what he thought was a hidden place, like a teacher standing on the podium watching students cheating. There is no difference in desktop copying. Han Yu looked at Sol with a smile, and asked him what to say with his eyes. Looking at his brother's hint that couldn't be more obvious, Sol nodded helplessly, indicating that it was true. Just when Loki was complacent and planning to show off to Han Yu, Sol added another sentence. "He has made great progress. He no longer needs to bring his own knife. He can condense a few with magic, and with the green light ring you gave him, he can transform all kinds of daggers more unscrupulously now." This teardown made Loki cover his face directly. He really deserves to be his brother, and he is too good at cheating his younger brother. For the first time, Loki felt that it was the feeling of being cheated by others. He still wanted to explain something, but Han Yu waved his hand and said, Okay, I won't talk to you anymore, you can come to the grocery store to find me after you clean up, Steve will definitely come in, you speed up the break-in, I don't want any intra-team conflicts that are harmful to the Legion. When Han Yu said this, he had already finalized the matter of Captain America's joining the Green Lantern Corps. Loki opened his mouth and didn't speak anymore. He was still sensible. The Commander-in-Chief talked about this, if he still opens his mouth to refute, then he is ignorant, and Sol will not be able to keep Loki at that time, Han Yu said. Seeing that Luoji closed his mouth resentfully, Han Yu nodded in satisfaction, told them to hurry up, and then hung up the communication. He planned to go upstairs to take a shower to refresh himself, and when he turned around, he found Ultron and Kuei Ian standing behind him. Damn, are you going to scare me to death? Chapter 199 Gathering of the Powerful. Because it was in the grocery store. The possibility of the enemy sneaking into the grocery store from the outside was zero, so Han Yu was basically completely relaxed in the store, without any vigilance. When Ao Juang and Kuei Ian approached him, Han Yu didn't notice it, so he was taken aback. Boss, you want to create a faction, and you invited Sol and the captain? Kuei Ian asked. Han Yu nodded. Damn it, if you don't tell me about this kind of thing, I'll join you too. Kuei Ian's eyes widened, and he said in surprise, we are your best clerk, you didn't call us. He's right. Ultron said flatly with his eyes as pale as autumn water without any fluctuation. Han Yu smiled helplessly, and said, isn't it too late to tell you? If I form a new force, you two will definitely join me. The strength of Kuei Ian and Ultron, no matter which one is singled out and placed on the Earth, or even on the Interstellar, they are all top-notch masters. How could Han Yu not let them join? As soon as he finished asking, Han Yu was unable to speak, and Kuei Ian said excitedly, I want the position of regiment commander. Ah, of course I don't want to grab your position as the boss, just the division commander. It's not too much to be in such a position. If this was the former Kuei Ian, he would definitely be embarrassed to say this, but now he is indeed qualified to say it. During this period of time, Kuei Ian maintained a 3 points and 1 line work and rest life. That is, the utility room, the game room and the bedroom. He spends his 3 meals a day in these 3 places. When he gets up in the morning, he goes to the utility room to practice his superpowers for an hour or two. At noon, he goes to the game room to play games. In the afternoon, I went to sleep like this at 10 or 11 in the evening. Kuei Ian has maintained this strange good schedule during this time. Whether it is superpowers or games, he has not given up on both ends, and he has taken care of it very well. Han Yu saw his efforts. Looking at Kuei Ian's smug look, that's what a confident person is like. Han Yu smiled and said, don't be in a hurry, I've already called all the people I summoned, and we'll discuss it after all the people are here. By the way, Hulk's affairs are all settled, right? Although he had a reminder from the grocery store system to complete the task, and he also believed that Ultron would solve it, Han Yu still wanted to ask about the follow-up of the matter. Solved, Hulk has now been stabilized and turned back into Banner. He confirmed that there is no laughing virus hidden in his body, and let him go home to rest. I also sent the remaining medicine to Rogers. Ultron said. Well, good. Han Yu nodded. He just needs to know these things. With Ultron's mind, he can't miss anything. Strictly speaking, he is not a real human being, but a supercomputer. It's just that he has a human body. After all, the 3 of them went to the dining room and packed up a table for many people to sit around, so that they could all sit down and chat for a while. 10 minutes later, people arrived one after another. Just as they were getting ready, water ripples appeared in the space beside them, which swayed to both sides, and then Thor and Loki walked out of it. Han, the business card you gave us is fine. If you move your mind, you can directly lead to the Earth. Before the Rocky arrived, the voice came first. Han Yu smiled, and shook hands with both of them. How about Asgard? Hela didn't lead the team to invade other countries, right? As soon as he finished speaking, a cold and noble voice came out from the space ripples. It's not good to speak ill of people behind their backs. Han Yu was taken aback for a moment, and moved his body to look behind Sol. After the 2 of them came out, the space ripples hadn't disappeared. The next second, a snow-white and round long leg appeared, and then the whole person froze. Walk out! It was Hela. Unexpectedly, the other party heard his words. Han Yu laughed a few times and asked, why are you here? Why, I'm not welcome. Hela glanced at Han Yu with her plain eyes, and now she no longer had the unprovoked murderous aura before, but was replaced by nobleness. A glance, a smile, all with a thrilling feeling. This kind of feeling cannot be faked. From Han Yu's point of view, if he pretended, he would be able to see it at a glance, but now he can feel that this temperament in Hela is real. This also means that Hela really put herself in the position of Asgard's God King, not the previous Asgard executive who fought in the Nine Realms. As a God King, naturally he can no longer carry a murderous look on his body, otherwise others will think that the one sitting on the throne is not a God King, but a fool. Welcome, welcome, please sit down. Han Yu smiled, and his expression quickly adjusted, revealing his signature smile. Hela stared at his face for a few seconds, then snorted softly, and led the two soul brothers to find a seat. About 5 minutes later, 2 more people came in, Steve and Bucky the Winter Soldier. Both of them were dressed in casual clothes. Although they were both elderly people in their 90s, they were dressed very well. In addition, their good looks gave them extra points. Han, we're not late, are we? Captain America smiled and extended his hand to Han Yu. Han Yu smiled and shook hands with both of them, and said, "It's not too late, and everyone has just arrived, come find a seat and sit down, the meeting can begin." Both Captain America and the Winter Soldier nodded and found a seat to sit down. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Han Yu, who was sitting in the main seat, coughed lightly, and the whispering people quickly quieted down, turning their eyes to him. The purpose of gathering everyone this time is to determine the establishment of the Green Lantern Corps and to divide each person's position. With the current number of people, it is no problem to form 3 to 5 sub-corps. Han Yu clasped his hands together, put them on his chin, narrowed his eyes, and said, "Let me explain my requirements first. First, do not use power to act recklessly. Violators will be punished according to the seriousness of the circumstances. At the least, they will be locked up, deprived of power, and at worst they will be executed on the spot. Second, conflicts that endanger the lives of both parties are not allowed within the team. 3. It is allowed to cut first and play later, but the result afterwards needs to be reviewed by Steve Rogers to decide whether it is appropriate. First announce the position of Rogers, the judge, who is responsible for reviewing the words and deeds of the Green Lantern Corps, as well as the judgment of the results of each mission. Are there any objections?" Han Yu looked at Captain America and said, "I have no objection." Captain America replied immediately. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect to be able to take this position when he came here. Although it was a newly formed legion with only such a small number of people, he could sense that this position was not something that ordinary people could hold. Han Yu's request is only 3 points, the first 2 points are restraint, and the third point is both restraint and connivance. Chapter 200 Forming the Green Lantern Corps. It is allowed to act first and act later, which means that they have the right to enforce the law. They do not need to ask for instructions before acting. When something happens, they are allowed to act independently, so as not to communicate too late or not reply in time, causing some irreversible consequences. In the eyes of others, even the Winter Soldier, Han Yu trusts him a little too much in the eyes of others, even in the eyes of the Winter Soldier, by giving the US team the position of reviewing the quality of the mission. But the truth is only known to Han Yu himself. In his memory of the final battle, the fact that Captain America was able to lift Thor's hammer is very telling. Odin in this universe has also sealed the hammer. Anyone with justice in his heart can lift the hammer and possess the power of Thor. Because of this, Han Yu has an inexplicable trust in the US team. Because all of us have different levels of combat power, we will be split into many groups. First of all, I want to talk about managing the subgroups within the planet. I call them planetary groups. The purpose is to manage what happens inside the planet. Supernatural hazards. Han Yu said. Although the Green Lantern Ring can achieve the ability of spaceflight, Han Yu still wants the main protection object of the Green Lantern Corps to be the Earth. Han Yu has no great ideal of protecting the peace of the universe. The reason why he created the Green Lantern Corps is because of his feelings for the Legion on the one hand, and because he is too lazy to do it himself when something happens. So now he wants to create a powerful Legion, strong enough to deal with most things that happen in the universe, and the Earth is naturally the key protection object of the Green Lantern Corps, and too many things happen on the Earth. Loki, you are the head of the planetary cluster. Han Yu said. Originally, Han Yu planned to give him some positions to step into the universe, but seeing that his magic was still at the level of holding a dagger as a Zhanan, he dispelled this idea. In the planet, what happens is normal at least. Once you step into the universe, the people you come into contact with are all space-level interstellar criminals, and even some god-level existences. Although Loki is known as the evil god and the god of mischief in Asgard, he has no power that can be called a god. He is just an Asgardian with super physical fitness. Ah, okay. Loki still wanted to fight for it, but Thor poked him, and when he turned his head to look, the latter shook his head at him. Seeing this, Loki agreed, and this is not the time to bargain. The higher the position, the more dangers you face. Now that the Green Lantern Corps has just been established, even if it has a high position, it doesn't have much reputation. It's not too late for Loki to start with a lower position and wait until he becomes stronger. What's more, Loki's position is not low now. Putting it in the entire Green Lantern Corps, it feels quite low that he can only manage the interior of the planet, but if you think about it carefully, isn't this the existence of an organization like the Avengers? Thinking of this, Loki convinced himself, and suddenly became beaming. The head of Soul's group, the name of the group is the Nebula Group, as the name implies, it is the existence of the management of the galaxy. If there is something difficult to solve inside the planet, you go. Ao Chuang, the deputy head of the head, is responsible for handling all unsolvable matters handed over by the branch. Pietro, the leader of the 2nd Regiment, the Reconnaissance Regiment, is responsible for patrolling the universe. If something happens, contact the 1st Regiment to resolve it. Speaking of this, Han Yu paused and said, the above is responsible for the larger level, and then I will talk about the interior of the Earth. Bucky, I will set up a special organization with SHIELD. You are in charge of internal disputes on the Earth. I will equip each member of this organization with an amnestic device. Your task is to investigate some supernatural events on the Earth. Investigate it before it is confirmed, and then use amnestics to eliminate ordinary people who have been exposed to it, so as not to cause widespread panic. The organization Han Yu mentioned is naturally the organization of the classic sci-fi movie in his previous life, The Men in Black. Although SHIELD is also responsible for this, it belongs to the country, and there are many things that are still difficult to handle. And the organization created by Han Yu is responsible for these things, because the Green Lantern Corps is more capable of dealing with such alien incidents, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is too weak in comparison. Bucky nodded, indicating that he knew. After the positions are distributed, the Green Lantern Corps will be established. On the Earth, and even in the universe, it was established quietly, and the only people who know about it are the people in today's meeting. The search for those ordinary members was beyond Han Yu's expectation, and the search speed was very fast. Because the source of the green light ring is Han Yu, and Han Yu's definition of being able to use the green light ring is kindness, and it must be owned by people with kind hearts. The stronger the kind thoughts in the heart, the stronger the control over the green light ring. In the early days of the establishment of this legion, Han Yu served as a teacher for a short period of time, in charge of teaching the regiment leaders who just got the green light ring and didn't know how to use it. After teaching them, Han Yu can rest. Afterwards, the members of the group will teach each group leader to be responsible, and Han Yu only needs to watch all this while making tea behind his back. After the establishment of the Green Lantern Corps, Han Yu released more than 100 Green Lantern rings, some on the Earth, and some floating in the universe. The purpose of this is to find suitable candidates for the Green Lantern Corps. The Green Lantern Corps does not limit whether the person who joins is a humanoid creature. As long as the person is kind and has an attitude of fighting for others, that person can be selected by the Green Lantern Corps. Looking at the green light flying all over the sky, Kuei Yin said with some concern, "Boss, what if this is taken away by someone with a certain strength?" Han Yu smiled, he had thought about this question a long time ago. Don't worry, these sub-rings are surrounded by special energy. If the way the energy shield dissipates is not for the ring to recognize the owner, then the energy in the ring will be immediately dissipate, at most it is a display. Kuei Yin nodded suddenly, this is a good way. Looking at the sky full of stars, Han Yu murmured, the universe is huge, we won't wait too long, and the members will definitely be selected soon. The US team and the Winter Soldier were walking on the street, they were whispering something about the Green Lantern Corps, and the topic between them was nothing more than how to find the members of the branch. Because both of them are nearly 100 years old, and all the trusted partners around them are dead, it is really not that simple to find someone they can trust and join the Green Lantern Corps. When the two were distressed, a woman's scream pulled their thoughts away. Looking back, it was a gangster who robbed a woman's bag. Captain America and the Winter Soldier exchanged glances, and just about to run towards that, a figure passed them one step at a time, and ran towards the gangster. End of the chapter. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.